Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Fantasy. My ex-wives are big bosses, and I am a soft fan of Heavenly Emperor. Chapter 21. Zon Mingzong. Sect Forbidden Land. Last sect leader. Recently there was a big piece of news about Flucklight Holy Maiden, which spread throughout the last 3 days. Beside the quiet pool, sat a shirtless man with purple hair and a shawl. After hearing what the servant said, he suddenly opened his bewitching eyes. Oh, news about Shen Qinghan. Let's hear it. Xiao sect leader is obviously very interested in the 3 characters Shen Qinghan. As soon as Shen Qinghan was mentioned, he immediately withdrew from the trance state. The servant said anxiously, I found the reason why the fluttering holy maiden rejects all kinds of heroes. It turns out that the fluttering holy maiden likes old men, and the older I get, the more I like them. Young sect leader's eyes widened immediately. The news is true. It came from Flucklight Sacred Land. There is no fake. Many people saw that Holy Maiden brought back an old man, and personally admitted that this is her Tao companion. The young sect leader couldn't sit still when he heard this. He stood up immediately, gritted his teeth, let the whole sect put down what they are doing, and find a way to grow old for me, immediately. As long as Shen Qinghan is involved, it is equivalent to being tied to Yaoguang Sacred Land. This is a big deal, and we must not delay it. For sect's future, I would rather abandon this face and become an old man. Zon Mingzong's young sect leader is going all out, and he loses his face. Last 3 days. Ji family. The eldest son of the Ji family is talking with the elders of the family. Suddenly, a junior rushed in from outside, whispered something in the ear of Ji's son-in-law. The eldest son of the Ji family, who never panicked, stood up abruptly. Elder, take it easy before attacking the demon sect. Now I have a more important thing to do. Elder raised his eyebrows slightly upon hearing the sound. Oh, what is more important than attacking the demon sect? The Mozong is now underground under the eyes of the Ji family, and now getting rid of the Mozong is the most important thing for the entire Ji family. The son-in-law now actually said that there are other things more important than getting rid of the Mozong. Thinking of this, Elder's eyes became more serious. Inexplicably a little nervous. That's right. Ji's son-in-law got up and walked out. Shen Qinghan likes the old man, and it has been spread for the past 3 days. With my identity and the old man's appearance, I will definitely win Shen Qinghan. Quote. Combining with Flucklight Sacred Land is equivalent to tying 2 ancient chariots together. This matter is much more important than exterminating the demon sect. Elder was taken aback when he heard the sound. Ha! You ran out in a hurry, talking about something more important than exterminating the demon sect, and ended up picking up girls. Not only these few. After receiving this news, all the top-ranked Tianzhao in the 3-day queue couldn't sit still. One of the largest medicine pill auction houses in the last 3 days. Star Auction House. At this time, the streets in front of the Fangxing Auction House were full of traffic, and the wide streets were filled with carriages. My God, what the hell is going on? Why are there so many big men? A director of the auction house looked at the various magical beasts pulling the cart outside, and said in fear. On the street, there are Schwantian dragon and tiger beasts, 7-star ghost sparrows, golden galloping rock birds. These group of strange beasts, all of which start at the lowest level of heaven, stand densely on the street, and the spiritual pressure fluctuations they emit are almost overwhelming. People can't breathe. These are rare beasts that have not been seen for decades, or even hundreds of years. As a result, I don't know what's going on today, but there are so many of them. The person next to him said in a low voice. Don't you know, Flucklight Holy Maiden likes old men. These are descendants of big families or sect Sacred Land, come to look for the medicine pill who has become an old man. The supervisor was dumbfounded. He has never seen so many geniuses gather together in his life. At this time, there was a loud noise in the auction house. As one of the largest medicine pill auction houses, your Fangxing auction house doesn't even have Wuyan pill. Can it work? You Fangxing eat so many spirit stones from my Wang family every year, but you can't even take out the small heaven-level medicine pill Wuyan pill. Hee, now I know that there are times when Fangxing, who claims to have the most complete medicine pill, can't come up with a medicine pill. Quote. Immediately afterwards, the young sect leader of Xuanmingzong, the Tianzhao of the Li family, the first son of the Ji family, the descendants of the Saint King and other Tianzhou walked out of the auction with dissatisfied expressions. HMPH, you Fangxing, it doesn't matter if we don't come in the future. I don't know which Tianzhou snorted coldly, turned around and got on the carriage. The golden-winged great pung spread its huge wings and flew directly onto 9 heavens. The president of the auction house chased out from inside in a panic, with a distressed expression on his face. He didn't care about his image and shouted, "Listen to me, it's really not that I don't have Wuyan pills in the stars. Some time ago, all of these Wuyan pills were bought away." HMPH, fart. Who would buy such a useless medicine pill? Holy Maiden also just came back the day before yesterday, and you said that someone came to buy Wuyan pill the day before yesterday. Listen to it yourself, is this plausible? Fan Xing disappointed me so much, it doesn't matter, if you don't come in the future. The carriages flew up into the sky and left without looking back. In situ, only President Fan Xing was left, standing there unrequitedly, with a painful expression on his face, not to mention how uncomfortable it was. What I said is true, why don't you believe it? He fully demonstrated what is called impotent rage. Everyone present had a premonition that Fangxing suddenly smashed the signboard that he had worked so hard to maintain for tens of thousands of years today. But the fact is indeed what President Fangxing said. The person who bought it was the Red Dragon Elder. But the problem is that there is a time difference between the Holy Master and the entire last 3 days. Shen Qinghan returned to Fluctlight Sacred Land 5 days ago. But the news released by the Holy Master is that Shen Qinghan returned to the Sacred Land 3 days ago. How could a Holy Master conceal such a thing? Therefore, everyone believes in the Holy Lord. As for those nonsense about the medicine pill auction house, bah, dogs don't believe it. As for the situation of several other large medicine pill auction houses, it is almost the same as the stars. I'm old Zhao, what's going on? Why are there so many world-renowned talents here? In the Xuanti auction house, the owner of the auction house didn't know what happened. He drank tea and looked at the Tianzhou downstairs with strange eyes. As a large auction house with a reputation comparable to that of Fangxing, the Xuanti auction house has a wide variety of medicine pills. The supervisor next to him said, Shen Qinghan likes the old man, these people are all here to ask for Wuyan pill. Wuyan pill. The boss thought for a long time before he remembered what this Wuyan pill was. This medicine pill is rare, but fortunately we have it in Xuanti. The boss smiled, only feeling that he was about to get rich. Then he saw that the supervisor was silent. After a while, he said, "Boss, to be honest, Wuyan pills have been bought up." What? The boss jumped up from the chair suddenly, his eyes widened. Suddenly panicked, and downstairs, a group of arrogances who are eager to be rewarded are already arguing. What do you mean? There are no stars, and you don't have black iron either. Are you still doing it? I don't expect you to have the holy medicine pill. You don't even have a heavenly medicine pill. What kind of medicine pill auction house do you still have? I understand. The medicine pill auction house in the last 3 days is full of rubbish. Quote. Quote. The third prince of Yanwang Shenchao said coldly, "Forget it, let me leave my words here. If I don't see Wuyan pill within today, Xuanti auction house will never want to open a branch in my Yanwang Shenchao." After speaking, he turned and left. 9-headed dragons pulled the carriage and plunged into the sky. The eldest sons of the Ji family, the heirs of the Li family, the descendants of the Saint Wang, and other Tianzhou all put aside their cruel words and then left the Xuanti auction house without looking back. Only the boss was left alone, messing around in the wind. Now, the entire last 3 days have been full of discussions about this matter. Even in the restaurant, the few Tianzhou who gathered to drink together couldn't talk about Shen Qinghan. Beside the sect leader, the young sect leader of Xuanmingzong, an old woman in the creation realm hesitated for a long time and said, "Les sect leader, in order to fight for a chance, make yourself an old man, is it really worth it?" Xiao sect leader said without hesitation, "It's worth it, it's so worth it." Let me ask you, why has our Xuanmingzong been declining in recent years? Because other sects have found thighs, we didn't. If Shen Qinghan is involved, won't our Xuanming sect be prosperous in the future, and we can get what we want? Lai Yangzong, Qingfeng Pavilion, everything is rubbish. Speaking of this, the sect leader of Xuanmingzong sighed faintly. Hey, I never thought before that Shen Qinghan's taste is so different. The road is narrow, but it's different now. Now there is a way to win Shen Qinghan's favor, why don't you try it quickly? I used to take the wrong path, but now I take the wide path. Young sect leader was full of spirits, and his eyes were bright when he said this. The same situation. It also happened to many other Tianzhao. Now all Tianzhao think that Shen Qinghan looked down on him before, not because he was not good enough. But I am not an old man. Now that there is such a great opportunity in front of you, how can you not try it? Young man, the road to prosperity is right in front of you. If you don't leave, others will leave for you. Besides, the Tianzhao of the last 3 days came to snatch Wuyandan, isn't that enough to explain the problem? If there is no appeal in this matter, is it worth so many arrogances to be unable to sit still? Say it again. Even if Shen Qinghan doesn't have the heavy background of sacred land, but judging by Shen Qinghan's appearance, she is still a first-class peerless beauty. And her Tao companion is just a mortal, and it can't compare with a genius like himself who has a halo. There is something wrong. It's a big deal. Then, with such thoughts in mind, the Tianzhao started the long journey of seeking pills. But after searching for a long time, and looking for more than a dozen medicine pill shops in a row, everyone found that this Wuyan pill is too rare, and there is no place to sell it. Fluctuate sacred land. The Holy Master smiled and listened to the outside news brought back by the Red Dragon Elder. It's been 4 or 5 days since I released the news, presumably the matter has almost fermented. She stood up suddenly and straightened her back. The outside world is hard to find now. Some Tianzhao even said, buy a Wuyan pill for 100,000 top-grade spirit stones. Now is the time to close the net. The Holy Master turned around and ordered. You go to the outside world to hold an auction, of course, don't use the name of Fluctlight, understand? Red Dragon Elder chuckled, I understand. Now he finally knew what the Holy Lord was up to. But having said that, Holy Master's thoughts are really dark. All of a sudden, the Tianzhao of the last 3 days was completely cheated. Immediately, Shillong Elder released another message. 3 days later, hold the Wuyan pill auction. The news quickly spread in the last 3 days. And the place where it was held was in the largest auction house in Fluctlight Galaxy. That day, in an auction house that can accommodate 10,000 people. The place was full of people. Looking around, they are all the arrogances who came here after receiving the news. All of them are big figures with heads and faces. Now they don't pay much attention to ostentation, they all sit on the wooden benches, impatiently waiting for the auction to start. Red Dragon Elder appeared on stage after changing his face. Everyone is a well-known Tianzhao in the last 3 days, and you should all know how hard it is to find a Wuyan pill now. And I don't have many Wuyan pills in my auction house, first come, first served. So, I won't talk nonsense, the auction price of a Wuyan pill starts with 10,000 top-grade spirit stones. Or say that the Holy Lord has a dark heart. At this time, the price of the Wuyan pill was directly increased by 10 times. And then sell it backhand to this group of spoiled brats. Even so, they are still snapping up all of them. I'll pay 110,000 yuan. Why do you have the nerve to ask for a price of 110,000? 200,000. My mother's 300,000, Lao Li, don't steal it from me. 500,000, I'll pay 500,000. Quote. On the stage, looking at the celebs who had fallen into madness, the smile on Shillong Elder's mouth widened. The first Wuyan pill was directly auctioned for a sky-high price of 1 million top-grade spirit stones. You know, the value of a Wuyan pill is only 1,000 top-grade spirit stones, which is directly doubled by 1,000 times. It was the third Prince Yanwang who took the first Wuyan pill. He accepted the medicine pill with a smile, stood up, and raised his cupped hands to the crowd with glory on his face. I'm sorry, I just accepted this first Wuyan pill, and I'm leaving to find the Holy Maiden. Let's talk. He flicked his sleeves in a haughty manner, raised his chin, and walked out of the auction house. See, all the heavens are in a hurry. Hurry up and start auctioning the second one, hurry up. I won't be in a hurry anymore. Quote. Red Dragon Elder immediately took out a second one. This one is actually more expensive than the first one. The sky-high price of 1.5 million top-grade spirit stones was directly auctioned. Everyone watched the third prince leave, don't mention how anxious they are. The second person to accept Wuyan pill was the Ji family's legitimate son. He ate the Wuyan pill in front of everyone, and his appearance became extremely old in an instant. A well-behaved handsome guy has directly turned into an 80-year-old man. The eldest son of the Ji family looked at On's appearance and expressed his satisfaction. Yo, this thing is so useful, ha 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 ha, please take your time to auction, I'm going to find Holy Maiden. After speaking, the eldest son of the Ji family also left the scene. The Tianzhou were even more anxious. The third one, 1.5 million. The fourth one, 1.42 million. The auction went on for 10 hours before all the Wuyan pills were sold out. Prices have skyrocketed since the beginning. It wasn't until later that the price came down. Even so, the last medicine pill was even sold for a sky-high price of 3 million. After it was sold out, there were still a bunch of Tianzhou beating their chests and feet, regretting that they didn't buy it. The Red Dragon Elder brought 10 interspatial rings filled with top-grade spirit stones, returned to the core area of the Fluctlight Sacred Land, and met the Holy Lord. Along the way, the corners of his mouth reached the back of his head. It's a lot of money, this time it's really a lot of money. The Lord turned his head when he heard the sound, and smiled slightly. Oh. How much is the proceeds of this auction? The Red Dragon Elder directly took out 10 interspatial rings. Excluding the cost, we made a net profit of 600 million top-grade spirit stones this time. A total of 600 million top-grade spirit stones. The price of a holy medicine pill is only around 10 million top-grade spirit stones. What is the concept of 600 million? It is the net income of a sect for a year, and there may not be 50 million top-grade spirit stones. In just a few days, the Lord has earned a sect's income for more than 10 years. The Holy Lord put away all the interspatial rings. 0.1 million out of it, and give it to the Red Dragon Elder as hard work. She didn't spend any of this money. They are all to be reserved for Shen Qinghan as his family property. After Shen Qinghan inherited the position of Holy Master, these are her small coffers. But the current Holy Master didn't think of it at all. How much does Shen Qinghan like Su Bai? These 600 million top-grade spirit stones are said to be for Shen Qinghan, but aren't they actually for Su Bai? You know this and I know it, understand. Understand, understand, you know and I know. The Red Dragon Elder burst into laughter. 1 million top-grade spirit stones, worth more than his offerings over the years. Get rich, get rich. Calculating the time, this group of Tianzhou should be here now. The Holy Master pondered for a moment. Let's pretend we don't know. Okay. After the mighty auction ended, all the talents came to shake the light of sacred land. With the acquiescent permission of the Holy Lord, he came to the core area unimpeded, outside the Holy Maiden Palace. The guard at the door was dozing off, when suddenly an old voice came from his ear. Get out of the way, little brother, I'm going in to find the Holy Maiden. When the guard opened his eyes, he saw that there were old men densely packed in front of him. All of them have big white hair, especially dazzling in the sun. Looking around, there are thousands of old men outside the Holy Maiden Palace. The guard wasn't sleepy at the time, and was immediately stunned. What's the situation? As a strong man, he was sent by Sacred Land to protect the Holy Maiden Palace. Since taking office, I have never seen anyone who dared to break into the Holy Maiden Palace. And now, it is his first mission after taking office for decades. Maybe this strong man will never think of it in his life. The first challenge I faced was not a strong man in a high realm, but a group of old men with gray hair and shining eyes. Who are you? The guard immediately asked seriously. Me, I'm the eldest son of the Ji family, don't you know me? I am the third Prince Yanwang. I am the sect leader of the Xuanming sect. The guard became more and more confused. Ah, you tell me, these old men are all famous for 3 days. Ah, no. Immediately, he suddenly remembered the news that was raging a while ago. Holy Maiden likes the old man. The guard is not stupid, he reacted immediately. The emperor of the Zhang family tossed his white hair, and the gully on his face could kill flies. He stood there senile, hunched over, and said in a deep voice. Holy Maiden looked down on me before, not because I wasn't good enough, but because I wasn't old enough, but now, I'm old and out of shape. Holy Maiden will definitely fall in love with me. The eldest son of the G family gave him a cold look. Fart, talk about old age, who of you is as old as me? You just look a little older, and I have problems with my internal organs. After eating the Wuyan pill, I immediately got Alzheimer's. Can you compare with me? I'm the real old man, aren't I, Gu? The eldest son of the Ji family turned to look at Tianzhao beside him. Tianzhao beside him was directly confused by the question. Isn't Gu your sister? What do you think I'm doing? Aren't you my little sister? The first son of the Ji family pampered Tianzhao's head next to him. You pervert, see this scene. All Tianzhao suddenly panicked. His eyes also became more serious. No, I just look a little old, but this son of the Ji family is really old. Alzheimer's is all over the place. How do you compare yourself to him? Think about it. Some Tianzhao silently ate the second Wuyan pill. If one is not enough, eat two. I don't believe it. One of them is dementia, two of them are liver cancer and lung cancer, and they are directly buried in the loess. Holy Maiden doesn't think so much of herself. Puff. Immediately, someone spat out a mouthful of blood. Then his eyes lit up and he laughed. Ha ha ha, I'm already old enough to have physical problems, it seems that my brothers are not as old as me. Everyone attacked immediately. I saw that he just stole the second Wuyan pill, how despicable and shameless. So what? Holy Maiden likes old people, but he didn't say he likes idiots, you're almost dead. How do you know that Holy Maiden doesn't like sick ones? They even like the old man, and the taste is more novel, what's the problem? Everyone was discussing in a hurry. Some people are comparing their hair to gray. Some people are rickety compared to others. Someone even has a more advanced cancer than anyone else. Seeing the appearance of Tianzhao, the guards at the gate, and the few true disciples who rushed over after hearing the sound, were all paralyzed. Are you crazy? Everyone is the pride of heaven, but they have such an old face. How about your demeanor? And can you be so childish? At the gate of sacred land, who has gray hair, more wrinkles, and who looks older? Crazy. Am I crazy, or is the world crazy? At this time, the instigator of countless arrogances in the past 3 days, the Holy Master, hid in the Great Hall, counting money until his hands cramped. After the Red Dragon Elder left, the Holy Master couldn't wait to take out all the spirit stones in the interspatial ring. Half of the entire Great Hall is filled with spirit stones. Each one is shining brightly, dazzling like a star. In the whole Great Hall, there is a strong spiritual chi. This made the money fanatic Holy Lord so beautiful that a blush appeared on his face. It seems that as long as she looks at so many spirit stones, she doesn't know what her body looks like. Anyway, her spirit is greatly satisfied. 3986, 3987. She just lit it silently. I don't feel tired at all. It seems that watching so many spirit stones is a kind of motivation. This time, it's a big hit. But soon, the Holy Master lit, and the movement slowed down. The frenzied light in his eyes also slowly faded away. Become a little disappointed, she raised her delicate chin and looked at the spirit stones mountain. She didn't know what to think of, and she seemed to lose all energy. I have earned so many spirit stones for junior sister, I hope that after she takes office, she will have more room to play. She has just entered Saint now, and the realm has not been completely stabilized yet. After these spirit stones are handed over to her, it will not be too late to help her enter the first stage of Saint. Starting from the Saint realm, it is no longer divided by several heavens. Saint environment, for the second step of power. There are only 3 realm partitions in total. The first order, the second order, and the third order Saint King. The current Shen Qinghan has just entered Saint, and has not yet been completely stabilized, and has not yet reached the first level. As for the Lord, it is the Saint King of the third realm. As for myself, forget it, let's do more things for junior sister while I'm still in office. As for the higher level realm, don't think about it. There was a little unwillingness in the Holy Master's eyes. But in an instant, it was replaced by helplessness and sadness. If it is possible, she also wants to go further. Check out the higher realms. But, because of a big battle back then, the foundation was injured, and there is no hope of improving in this life. Even after searching for 3 days, I still haven't found a cure. That's why the Holy Master doted on Shen Qinghan so much, and even forcibly suppressed Shen Qinghan's exchanging for Su Bai's holy law of fluttering light. And also left her a family property of 600 million yuan. He even had to do some more things to help Shen Qinghan pave the way. Just because, when the Holy Master saw Shen Qinghan, it was as if he saw himself who was a genius in heaven. She poured all her heart and soul into Shen Qinghan's body. She hoped that Shen Qinghan would take the share of own to go higher and farther. Alas! A long sigh resounded in the silent and empty great hall. The Lord shook his head slightly, then counted the spirit stones. Inside the Holy Maiden Palace, Su Bai's recent days are extremely happy. He concentrated on sitting in meditation and practicing the holy law of fluctuating lights. Shen Qinghan on the side sat in front of the table, propped his cheek with one hand, tilted his head, and stared at Su Bai with a smiling face. It seems that as long as she can see her young master, it is the happiest thing for her. Shen Qinghan asked silently, "Young master, are you tired from sitting like this? I'll go and buy you a heavenly cushion. It's more comfortable to sit on, okay?" Su Bai frowned slightly. "It's okay, I don't need that kind of thing, I'm fine sitting like this." "But," Shen Qinghan suddenly panicked, "but I'm really panicked." Su Bai was silent for a moment. Then he lowered his head and glanced at the soft bed under him. A full 3-layer mattress. The fabric used is the best fabric in the last 3 days. It's made of silk spit out by the holy beast 9-ring silkworm. Things of this quality can be called luxury goods among luxury goods. Just like that, Xiao Taohong still felt that she was panicking. Su Bai felt a little tired all of a sudden. "No, you don't need to buy it." Shen Qinghan lowered her head, a hint of shame appeared on her pretty face. She said cautiously, but I've already bought everything." Then, from behind, pulled out a shining golden cushion. "Ah," Su Bai was taken aback, "what's the use of this thing?" "Of course it's useful. After young master sits on it, he won't panic, and it can also increase the speed of cultivation and improve his comprehension. Try it quickly." Su Bai took a deep breath. "How many things have you bought these days since I came here?" He pointed to a corner of the room. "Look, there are all the treasures you bought for me, such as heaven-level water glasses, heaven-level toothbrushes, heaven-level wash basins. What's the use of buying those things? One treasure needs 10,000 top-grade spirit stones, and you can't spend it like that if you have money." Su Bai said seriously, "I know I was wrong. But I feel sorry for young master." Shen Qinghan said in a low voice. "Oh," Su Bai sighed weakly, "take it here, don't buy me so many treasures next time." Hearing the sound, a smile suddenly bloomed on Shen Qinghan's face. "Young master is the best. Ham, I really can't do anything about you." Then Su Bai accepted what Shen Qinghan bought for him, the 16th heavenly treasure. "It's been a good day. Not to mention how hated it is. Very comfortable." But at this moment, a servant's anxious voice suddenly came from outside. "Holy Maiden, it's not good. After hearing that you like old men, the Tianzhao outside have all turned into old men. Now they are all outside the Holy Maiden Palace. They are all looking for you. Go out and have a look, my mother, there are thousands of old men, those with white hair are dazzling." Hear the sound. Shen Qinghan was stunned. Su Bai opened his mouth slightly. "What? Thousands of old men, and they are all famous for 3 days." Su Bai was silent for a while, then murmured, "Xiao Taohong, you 3-day-old Tianzhao, is there something missing in your brain? Boy, are these people out of their minds? Listening to wind as rain." When it was said that Shen Qinghan liked the old man, everyone really believed it. "What's the matter with all sand sculptures?" Shen Qinghan looked a little embarrassed, and didn't know what to say, because this matter had something to do with herself, and she was a little nervous now. His bony fingers gently pinched the hem of the skirt, but he didn't dare to say anything. In fact, this group of top talents cannot be blamed for this incident. It's really Su Bai who underestimated Shen Qinghan's influence in the last 3 days. The holy maiden who can be pursued by countless heroes, and Su Bai is a maid who brings tea and water, pinches her shoulders and warms the bed. The latter naturally didn't know what kind of status Shen Qinghan had in front of outsiders. It's not surprising that they can't understand this group of Tianzhao. But Su Bai didn't ask too much, but frowned slightly, and the more he thought about it, the more he felt that this matter was not simple. I came here for the last 3 days, and it didn't take half a month to do my best. Just over a week. But the news spread like wildfire, and the uproar spread throughout the last 3 days. To say that there is not an invisible big hand behind this, I absolutely do not believe it. Who could it be? Who knows that they have been here for the last 3 days? Will this group of Tianzhao become old men? Will they reach certain interests for some people? Su Bai's experience in the next 3 days made him develop this cautious character. Whenever you encounter something that is not right, you have to think about it carefully. I have only been here for 3 days, and I don't understand the various forces and the intricate relationships behind them, so I am completely in the dark. It is too difficult to find out who is behind it. Thinking of this, Su Bai frowned even deeper. Unexpectedly, Shen Qinghan at the side immediately panicked when he saw Su Bai frowning. It's over, does young master mind this matter? She quickly stood up and said pitifully, young master, wait for me, I'll go out right away and drive away these annoying flies. Those arrogances who even gave up their looks in order to pursue Shen Qinghan are nothing but annoying flies in Shen Qinghan's mouth. This sentence was heard by them, and I don't know how many people would cry sadly. Hee, it doesn't matter if Su Bai is old. The Tianzhao are old and annoying flies. Engage in double standards, right? Wait a minute, isn't it? Just as Su Bai wanted to stop him, he saw that Shen Qinghan had already rushed out of the door, and there was no one in sight. Su Bai sighed, I just want to remind you that this matter is not simple. However, it's not easy for Xiao Taohong to become a sacred land holy maiden after spending so much time in the last 3 days. Such a simple thing, she should be able to see it. Let's see how she handles it herself. Su Bai was relieved a lot. Close your eyes slightly, sit up in meditation without hearing anything outside the window, seize all the time to practice. Outside the Holy Maiden Palace. After receiving Shen Qinghan's instructions, Li Wanner, who rushed to the scene, looked at the scene in front of her with a dazed expression. As a true disciple of Fluctlight's sacred land, even though she lost to Shen Qinghan in the Holy Maiden battle, she is still a first-class genius outside. Therefore, Li Wanner immediately saw many familiar but unfamiliar faces among this group of people. This seems to be the second son of the Wang family, the one who seems to be Zhen Tianzi's big apprentice. No, it looks like the boss of the Bai family again. Hiss, Li Wanner immediately gasped. She knew the rumors outside. But the rumor itself is not credible. Holy Maiden only likes Su Bai, it doesn't matter if he is old or not. Even if Su Bai is a baby now, Holy Maiden still loves it. This group of Tianzhao's brains are twitching. She looked at these Tianzhao with that kind of radiant and expectant expression. Li Wanner was numb. My God, Holy Maiden will really find me a job and let me deliver the news. Wouldn't it offend most of the Tianzhao in the past 3 days? I muttered in my heart. But there was nothing she could do. Who let himself lose to Shen Qinghan in the Holy Maiden battle? This has to be endured. Offenders have to go too. No solution anymore. Li Wanner coughed twice. Ahem. Outside the Holy Maiden Palace, the Tianzhao were extremely tacit, and all stopped what they were doing. Immediately look up at the gate of the Holy Maiden Palace. After seeing that it wasn't Shen Qinghan who appeared, there was a look of disappointment in his eyes. But it's a good thing someone shows up, at least Holy Maiden knows, they're here. That's a good sign. Yo, Shaoli little sister, did Holy Maiden ask you to come out to spread the word? Seeing that we have such a good relationship, can you give me a few words of kindness in front of Holy Maiden? Someone said. Li Wanner thought forget it, you can be my master now, who is your little sister? However, there is still no abnormality on the surface, and there is no response. But the crowd erupted again in an instant. Shaoli, I know you. When we were young, we were still catching weeks together. Did Holy Maiden ask you to come out and inform me to let me in? You fart. Holy Maiden doesn't like you. Look at you, brother, there is a cynical temperament in his old age, this is the best old grandpa. Come on, I have lung cancer, what did I say? Holy Maiden must favor me, don't think about it. Quote. Li Wanner listened to the Tianzhao and Yu, and she seemed to be arguing, and her heart became even more numb. A group of idiots who don't know what's going on. She took a deep breath, bit the bullet, and took out a stone tablet from her sleeve. Huh, what? It seems to be the oral order of the Holy Maiden. Holy crap, take a good look, what did Holy Maiden say? All Tianzhou stopped arguing at that time. Instead, their eyes widened one by one, and they looked at the steel carefully. What's more, he even took out the reading glasses that he had prepared a long time ago from his pocket. He took a breath, wiped his glasses, squinted his eyes and stretched his neck to look. I saw only a simple sentence written on the stone tablet. It read, "No old dogs allowed." Third Prince Yanwang brushed his little hair. Then murmured, "Let me see what my beloved Holy Maiden wrote. No old dogs allowed." What do you mean? What is an old dog? There are no dogs here. The third prince widened his eyes. Old dogs are not allowed in. She called me an old dog. After seeing the words on the steel, all the Tianzhou in the audience exploded immediately. What do you mean? Didn't you say that Holy Maiden likes this bite? Is there any misunderstanding here? Sister Li, can you help us ask? Yes, I must have made a mistake. For the last 3 days, I knew that the Holy Maiden liked old people. What's the matter with this steel? I didn't say that. Are you all bad writers? Don't you recognize the spirit power fluctuations of Holy Maiden in this? This is written by Holy Maiden. It's unreasonable, but he was tricked. Quote. All the Tianzhou present couldn't bear it anymore, pointing at the steel and cursing, lashing out. In the last 3 days, this has not happened. It can make thousands of Tianzhou lose their temper at the same time. This is the only time in history. I can't take it any longer. Li Wanner's mouth twitched slightly, and she said against the pressure, "Don't worry, Holy Maiden also brought you a spell." Upon hearing Li Wanner say that, the expressions of the Tianzhou were much more relaxed. It seems that things are not what I thought. That's right, Holy Maiden is not the kind of impolite person. Let's take a look first. What kind of spell is it? Oh, it turns out that there is a turning point in the matter. Look at this incident. I didn't say anything just now. Quote. Everyone immediately laughed again. While Li Wanner scolded a group of realistic men in her heart, she poured spirit power into it like a stone tablet, activating the spell that Shen Qinghan left inside. After the pure spirit power was poured into the steel lit up with a faint halo from the inside out, blurred and sacred. Immediately afterwards, the stone tablet twitched the water molecules in the air, and slowly, in midair, a water mirror formed. The water mirror is suspended in midair, slightly tilted, just enough for all Tianzhou to see themselves on it. Then, Li Wanner found out. The whole scene was suddenly silent. Tianzhou, the only one on the scene whose hair was not so white and had a little bit of black hair mixed in, realized it on the spot. He immediately felt a surge of anger. Roared, "Brothers, this Holy Maiden is telling us to look in the mirror. Isn't she telling us that the toad wants to eat swan meat?" As soon as someone said that, everyone reacted. A burst of louder and more indignant noise suddenly flooded the entire Holy Maiden palace. Mom boasted that we have been played by others. What Holy Maiden likes the old man? It's all fake. Who put the fake news? Information is wrong. It shouldn't be. Isn't this something you've known for the last 3 days? The Fluchtlight Holy Maiden is too ruthless. It's fine if you don't come out to meet people, and even called us old dogs and asked us to look in the mirror. Quote. Among them, those Tianzhou who paid a lot of money to buy Wuyan pill were the most embarrassing. The third Prince Yanwang's face was flushed red. With a look of embarrassment and anger, he pointed at the Holy Maiden Palace and said loudly, "Since the Holy Maiden is so ungrateful, there is nothing to do here, I'll just leave." Quote. Please tell Fluchtlight Holy Maiden that I can't pee in the same pot as her. After speaking, he turned around and squeezed out of the crowd. Along the way, he also heard several different voices. Is this kid the one who bought Wuyan pill for more than 1 million yuan? It seems so. The clothes are exactly the same. The money has been spent, and the people haven't seen it yet, and the people are old and out of shape, let alone the people, and they have lost a lot. The more third Prince Yanwang listened, the more he couldn't hold back his face. The corners of my mouth are twitching. When he thought of his own auction, his chin almost went up to the sky, with that smug look. The scalp is numb. Shame. What a shame. Third Prince Yanwang hurriedly walked and left this place quickly. The other Tianzhou couldn't wait any more. Brothers, how about we withdraw? Withdraw it, it's so embarrassing, I just want to know, when will the effect of this Wuyan pill pass? It won't be like this for the rest of my life. Return it. Go back and find that auction house. If you eat mine, I'll ask him to return it. Quote. The black crowd came quickly and dispersed quickly. All the Tianzhao felt that their faces were dull, and they were too embarrassed to embarrass themselves here, so they left quickly. Li Wanner immediately breathed a sigh of relief, and wiped the fine sweat from her brow. Phew, it's a good thing they're all gone. She's also considered a successful holy maiden quest. Just as she was about to turn around and leave, Li Wanner caught something out of the corner of her eye and let out a slight gasp. Huh, why is there still someone here? Li Wanner turned around and looked around. All I saw was a stooped figure standing motionless on the open grass. The eldest son of the Ji family hasn't left yet. He opened his mouth slightly, and the crystal-clear hala flowed out from the corner of his mouth. His eyes were dull, his head was slightly raised, and his eyes were squinted. A look that looks very smart. Staring blankly at the steel. Li Wanner looked more and more familiar, and then suddenly recognized it. Isn't this the Ji family's son? Why aren't you leaving? She asked. The Ji family's son-in-law's eyes widened immediately, and he looked back and forth. Old dog. There are still old dogs here. How can there be dogs? Li Wanner. Good guy, everyone is on the 5th floor and has already left. Only you are still on the 1st floor, and you haven't realized what this sentence means. Is Alzheimer's already this serious? Li Wanner was completely numb. She turned around and ordered tiredly. Find a disciple from the Ji family in Sacred Land and let the Ji family take him back. Seeing him like this, I'm afraid I won't be able to go back. The eldest son of the Ji family suddenly affirmed, wait, there seems to be a sentence, let me see what is written on it. Li Wanner was suddenly silent for a long time. 26. Can I return the product now? The heavens are so arrogant. Third Prince Yanwang brushed his little hair. Then murmured. Let me see what my beloved holy maiden wrote. No old dogs allowed. What do you mean? What is an old dog? There are no dogs here. The third prince widened his eyes. Old dogs are not allowed in. She called me an old dog. After seeing the words on the steel, all the Tianzhao in the audience exploded immediately. What do you mean? Didn't you say that holy maiden likes this bite? Is there any misunderstanding here? Sister Li, can you help us ask? Yes, I must have made a mistake. For the last 3 days, I knew that the holy maiden liked old people. What's the matter with this steel? I didn't say that. Are you all bad writers? Don't you recognize the spirit power fluctuations of holy maiden in this? This is written by holy maiden. It's unreasonable, but he was tricked. Quote. All the Tianzhao present couldn't bear it anymore, pointing at the steel and cursing, lashing out. In the last 3 days, this has not happened. It can make thousands of Tianzhao lose their temper at the same time. This is the only time in history. I can't take it any longer. Li Wanner's mouth twitched slightly, and she said against the pressure, don't worry, holy maiden also brought you a spell. Upon hearing Li Wanner say that, the expressions of the Tianzhao were much more relaxed. It seems that things are not what I thought. That's right, holy maiden is not the kind of impolite person. Let's take a look first. What kind of spell is it? Oh, it turns out that there is a turning point in the matter. Look at this incident. I didn't say anything just now. Quote. Everyone immediately laughed again. While Li Wanner scolded a group of realistic men in her heart, she poured spirit power into it like a stone tablet, activating the spell that Shen Qinghan left inside. After the pure spirit power was poured into the steel lit up with a faint halo from the inside out, blurred and sacred. Immediately afterwards, the stone tablet twitched the water molecules in the air, and slowly, in midair, a water mirror formed. The water mirror is suspended in midair, slightly tilted, just enough for all Tianzhao to see themselves on it. Then, Li Wanner found out. The whole scene was suddenly silent. Tianzhao, the only one on the scene whose hair was not so white and had a little bit of black hair mixed in, realized it on the spot. He immediately felt a surge of anger. Roared, brothers, this holy maiden is telling us to look in the mirror. Isn't she telling us that the toad wants to eat swan meat? As soon as someone said that, everyone reacted. A burst of louder and more indignant noise suddenly flooded the entire Holy Maiden Palace. Mom boasted that we have been played by others. What Holy Maiden likes the old man? It's all fake. Who put the fake news? Information is wrong. It shouldn't be. Isn't this something you've known for the last 3 days? The Fluchtlight Holy Maiden is too ruthless. It's fine if you don't come out to meet people, and even called us old dogs and asked us to look in the mirror. Quote. Among them, those Tianzhao who paid a lot of money to buy Wuyan pill were the most embarrassing. The third Prince Yanwang's face was flushed red, with a look of embarrassment and anger. He pointed at the Holy Maiden Palace and said loudly, "Since the Holy Maiden is so ungrateful, there is nothing to do here, I'll just leave." Quote. Please tell Fluchtlight Holy Maiden that I can't pee in the same pot as her. After speaking, he turned around and squeezed out of the crowd. Along the way, he also heard several different voices. Is this kid the one who bought Wuyan pill for more than 1 million yuan? It seems so. The clothes are exactly the same. The money has been spent, and the people haven't seen it yet, and the people are old and out of shape, let alone the people, and they have lost a lot. The more third Prince Yanwang listened, the more he couldn't hold back his face. The corners of my mouth are twitching. When he thought of his own auction, his chin almost went up to the sky, with that smug look. The scalp is numb. Shame. What a shame. Third Prince Yanwang hurriedly walked and left this place quickly. The other Tianzhao couldn't wait anymore. Brothers, how about we withdraw? Withdraw it, it's so embarrassing. I just want to know, when will the effect of this Wuyan pill pass? It won't be like this for the rest of my life. Return it. Go back and find that auction house. If you eat mine, I'll ask him to return it. Quote. The black crowd came quickly and dispersed quickly. All the Tianzhao felt that their faces were dull, and they were too embarrassed to embarrass themselves here, so they left quickly. Li Wanner immediately breathed a sigh of relief, and wiped the fine sweat from her brow. Phew, it's a good thing they're all gone. She's also considered a successful Holy Maiden quest. Just as she was about to turn around and leave, Li Wanner caught something out of the corner of her eye and let out a slight gasp. Why is there still someone here? Li Wanner turned around and looked around. All I saw was a stooped figure standing motionless on the open grass. The eldest son of the Ji family hasn't left yet. He opened his mouth slightly, and the crystal clear hala flowed out from the corner of his mouth. His eyes were dull, his head was slightly raised, and his eyes were squinted. A look that looks very smart. Staring blankly at the steel. Li Wanner looked more and more familiar, and then suddenly recognized it. Isn't this the Ji family's son? Why aren't you leaving? She asked. The Ji family's son-in-law's eyes widened immediately, and he looked back and forth. Old dog. There are still old dogs here. How can there be dogs? Li Wanner. Good guy. Everyone is on the 5th floor and has already left. Only you are still on the 1st floor, and you haven't realized what this sentence means. Is Alzheimer's already this serious? Li Wanner was completely numb. She turned around and ordered tiredly. Find a disciple from the Ji family in sacred land and let the Ji family take him back. Seeing him like this, I'm afraid I won't be able to go back. The eldest son of the Ji family suddenly affirmed, wait, there seems to be a sentence, let me see what is written on it. Li Wanner was suddenly silent for a long time. A few minutes ago. Golden Chanzi elder rushed out of the core area quickly. Behind him pulled out a long golden light, the whole person seemed to be bathed in divine light. Sacred was incomparable, and directly washed away all the clouds in front of him, leaving a series of sonic booms in the air. There is also a certain reason for being called a god by mortals. At this time, Jin Chanzi Elder, who was about to go out to do some errands, suddenly heard a burst of noisy voices from below. Jin Chanzi frowned slightly. This is the core area. The Holy Maiden Palace seems to be here. Who dares to make a loud noise here? After all, Jin Chanzi directly descended into the midair. He looked slightly taken aback. I saw that the ground was full of old men older than him. What's going on here? Jin Chanzi looked at it quietly, and had a panoramic view of the whole thing. The more he looked, the angrier his eyes became. It's unreasonable. What on earth does the Holy Maiden want to do? These are the arrogance of the last 3 days. In the future, they will all be in charge of a large force. Offending them, isn't it equivalent to offending the forces behind them? Unacceptable. Jin Chanzi Elder was furious. He flicked his sleeves, and there were cracks in the space around him, almost collapsing. I'm going to call a sacred land meeting, and this time, I can't let the Holy Maiden run amok again. My law enforcement palace has been deposited for too long. Is it true that I, Jin Chanzi, are easy to bully? It's just right, let's avenge the old and new hatred together. In addition to Elder, Jin Chanzi also has a first-stage identity. Lord of the Law Enforcement Palace. The so-called Law Enforcement Hall is a department that does not need to obey the sect leader at all, but only operates according to the sect rules. Even in the past history, there was a story of the Holy Master being thrown into the prison by the Hall of Law Enforcement. As long as the evidence is convincing, the Palace of Law Enforcement is equivalent to holding the sword of Shang Fang, and no one can delay the Palace of Law Enforcement to act. Say it. Jin Chanzi rushed directly to the meeting Great Hall. Ring the great old clock that hangs outside the Great Hall. Hum, hum, hum. This ancient clock has been standing here since the birth of Sacred Land. In Sacred Land, only those who are members of the Hall of Law Enforcement are eligible to ring the ancient bell. One sound, it's for the disciples. Twice, for the elder. 3 times, for the retired elder, the Holy Maiden, the Holy Son, and even the Lord. During Setsuna, a long and vigorous bell chime reached the ears of every elder who was outside. All elders received the bell at the first instant. 3 chimes, did someone make a big mistake? Hurry back and have a look. The Hall of Law Enforcement has been silent for a long time, and now the bell is suddenly ringing. I'm afraid something will happen. Is it the Holy Maiden or the Holy Lord? Hee hee, this time it's a lot of fun to watch. Not long after, a group of elders sat in the meeting Great Hall. Seeing that everyone was here, Jin Chanzi looked gloomy, propping up the obsidian table with one hand, and said seriously. Holy Maiden Shen Qinghan is too much, directly offended the entire last 3 days, the overwhelming majority of the arrogance. I shake the light of Sacred Land, I don't fight against the world, I never stand in a team, I don't form an alliance. I fluffed light that Sacred Land has survived since ancient times, and it has a lot to do with us never participating in disputes. But Holy Maiden, Shen Qinghan, just now, scolded more than 1,000 Tianzhou as old dogs. What do you say, isn't this a provocation? She does things without thinking about the consequences. The words fell. The faces of the elders suddenly became extremely ugly. This Holy Maiden doesn't take Sacred Land seriously at all. How is this guy going to lead Fluchtlight Sacred Land? My Fluchtlight Sacred Land is vast, occupying a galaxy, and I must not let such narrow-minded people manage it. Jin Chanzi looked like he hated iron for being weak. There is one more thing. Last time, the Holy Lord entered the restricted area of life and picked the 9 Yifan flowers for the Holy Maiden, but the Holy Maiden did not use it herself. In order to cure that Subai, Holy Maiden directly gave Subai the holy medicine that would allow her to break through to the first level of saint. In that case, what will the Holy Maiden fight for in the once-in-a-century Delu discussion? Delu's talk on the Tao was a major event that he had been paying attention to for the entire last 3 days. Every 100 years, it will be opened once. This is an ancient road in the starry sky. It has left countless senior powers' hard work and insights. At the same time, there are countless dangers accompanying it. As long as one can walk out of Emperor Road, one's understanding of realm and Tao will increase several times. Someone break through directly above Saint in the Emperor's Road. Someone harvested a fairy-level treasure on the Emperor's Road. Some people even directly obtained the Great Emperor sentiment in the Emperor's Road. The perception of the Great Emperor is the fundamental reason why every sect values Emperor Road the most. It can be said that every big sect is preparing for Emperor Road. But Shen Qinghan gave the 9 Yifanhua to Subai at the critical juncture of the Emperor's Road. The elders couldn't bear it immediately. Scolded Shen Qinghan for not knowing the general idea. This year's Holy Maiden, why is she so affectionate? Doesn't she know what is the most important thing? It's too much. If this continues, sooner or later my Fluchtlight will be defeated by her. No, I have to ask the Holy Master and Holy Maiden to give me an explanation for the tens of thousands of Fluchtlight Sacred Land. Jin Chanzi saw that the atmosphere had already heightened to this point. He slapped the table directly. The case was finalized. Okay, I propose to deprive Shen Qinghan of the position of Holy Maiden for the time being, and restore it someday. If you agree, please raise your hand. As soon as the words fell to the ground, more than half of the elders raised their hands. Among them, a considerable part was eaten by the Holy Lord last time. But now, they found an excellent reason to challenge the Holy Master. The Holy Maiden committed a crime, the Lord must not sit idly by. And for this matter, the elders are right. Therefore, through this incident, increasing the voice of the elders and strengthening the status of the Hall of Law Enforcement, is the main purpose of Jin Chanzi. Seeing that the own proposal had been approved, Jin Chanzi raised an arc imperceptibly at the corner of his mouth, and disappeared soon after. In that case, please join me in inviting people to the Holy Maiden Palace. Jin Chanzi walked out of the Great Hall, turned into a golden light, and disappeared into the sky in an instant, heading for the Holy Maiden Palace. Behind them, a group of elders followed up aggressively with their own magical powers. After Shen Qinghan went out, Su Bai closed his eyes and meditated, but opened his eyes after a while, obviously not thinking about practicing. He slowly stopped shaking the holy law. Frowning slightly, he murmured, "After all, those who come here are nearly half of the Tianzhou from the Northern Territory in the last 3 days, and all of them have outstanding backgrounds and outstanding aptitude. Little Tao Hong, can she stand it? I don't know who released the fake news, hey?" Su Bai said not to worry, it was all fake. On the one hand, he felt that Xiao Taohong must have the means to deal with this matter. On the one hand, he worried that the forces behind these Tianzhou would put some pressure on Xiao Taohong. Now that I am weak, I can't help her much. Hope this time, nothing goes wrong. Just when Su Bai was worried, there was a sound of footsteps outside the door, getting closer. Su Bai looked up upon hearing the sound. Then his eyes suddenly lit up. With cold beautiful eyes and exquisite facial features, Shen Qinghan, who looked like a celestial immortals, leaned against the door and smiled slightly at Su Bai. "Little Taohong, what's going on? How long have you been out, and now you're back? I'm afraid I offended those arrogances all over the place." Thinking of this, Su Bai asked, "Why did you come back so soon? Where are those arrogant people?" Shen Qinghan waved his hand with a look of indifference. "These are just a bunch of annoying flies that like to buzz and get attention." When he said this, there was a trace of contempt in his eyes. So in Xiao Taohong's heart, these arrogances who have been famous for 3 days are just annoying flies. Xiao Taohong really has a double standard. Su Bai said calmly, "If that's the case, then ignore them." They all went back. Going back, Shen Qinghan sat next to Su Bai, suddenly turned his head and stared at Su Bai. "Young master, I have something, I don't know if I should ask you." Su Bai laughed. "Ask." Shen Qinghan pondered for a moment, and his expression became serious. Su Bai rarely saw Shen Qinghan showing this appearance. Even with himself, he became a little serious unconsciously. "Young master," Shen Qinghan said softly, "do you have any plans now?" I mean, the plan for the future, is to continue to practice in Fluctlight Sacred Land, or..." Shen Qinghan was a little embarrassed, a blush appeared on her fair face, she pinched her legs, and said in embarrassment, "Or, come with me and find a hidden paradise where no one knows." Su Bai was taken aback. "Anyway, with my strength, it's enough to help young master live forever. From now on, the two of us will live a sweet life without being disturbed by others, and we will be in love with each other." Shen Qinghan raised his face, a pair of big eyes seemed to be shining brightly, looking up at Su Bai with crooked eyebrows, waiting expectantly for Su Bai's answer. Live in seclusion, Su Bai pondered for a while, feeling a little warmth in his heart. It seems that Xiao Taohong has thought about this matter for a long time. She must have analyzed all kinds of pros and cons, and all kinds of consequences before she raised this idea to herself. And Xiao Taohong, as the holy maiden of sacred land, must be involved in all aspects. To be able to leave everything behind must bear a lot of pressure. It is absolutely impossible for me to be so selfish and make Xiao Taohong give up so much. Su Bai laughed, and joked, "I've only been here for 3 days, Fluctlight Sacred Land didn't even realize it, so you let me go to live in seclusion." The words fell. "Oh, forget it." Shen Qinghan put away that expression and said quietly. Looking at Xiao Taohong's appearance, Su Bai always felt that she seemed a little disappointed. And, not the usual kind of disappointment at being rejected by myself. Instead, it's the disappointment that you can't monopolize because you like something. To put it bluntly, it is possessive. Don't look at Shen Qinghan looking coldly, with a face like strangers not to enter. But in front of Su Bai, she is a very possessive little girl. Although Su Bai doesn't have a cultivation base, his mind is still very active. Otherwise, in the next 3 days, I won't be able to become Master Su. In his opinion, Xiao Taohong has both advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is that Shen Qinghan will take care of herself wholeheartedly and treat herself well. The disadvantage is that the possessiveness is too strong. What should I do if I meet my other confidant in the future? Just thinking about it gives me a headache. Su Bai shook his head slightly, not thinking about such a horrible thing for now. But at this moment, outside the Holy Maiden Palace, a majestic rumbling sound suddenly sounded. I am Jin Chanzi, the master of the Hall of Law Enforcement, and I came to arrest Shen Qinghan on the grounds that Holy Maiden Shen Qinghan violated the commandments of the sacred land. The words fell. Su Bai was taken aback suddenly. What's the situation? The Palace of Law Enforcement sent someone to arrest Xiao Taohong. What did she do wrong again? Then subconsciously turned to look at Xiao Taohong. The latter had a calm expression, as if he didn't put in one's eyes at all. Little Taohong, this is. Su Bai frowned slightly. But before he finished speaking, there was a bang, the door was kicked open from the outside, and Jin Chanzi walked in first. Behind Jin Chanzi, the master of the Hall of Law Enforcement, followed by a group of elders. There was the old woman who stepped on the dragon when the Holy Lord was in a meeting that day, and there was Power who hurried back from other worlds. Each of these few is a strong man who stomps his feet and shakes the world. Gathering together, the spiritual pressure that emanates makes people feel suffocated. Shen Qinghan subconsciously shot out a wave of spirit power to protect Su Bai. Otherwise, with Su Bai's strength, just by standing beside these people, he would be crushed into scum by that terrifying spirit pressure. Shen Qinghan, on the other hand, looked at these people without any panic. Most of these people hold important positions in the Fluctlight sacred land. A cultivation base is even more powerful. It can be said that besides the Holy Maiden, these elders are the most powerful in Fluctlight sacred land. But Fluctlight sacred land has had an unwritten rule since ancient times, which has lasted for tens of thousands of years. No trespassing is allowed in the Holy Maiden Palace. But now, Jin Chanzi teamed up with several elders to break into the Holy Maiden Palace, completely refusing to put Shen Qinghan in one's eyes. What's going on? Su Bai was taken aback for a moment, then narrowed his eyes and looked at Jin Chanzi and the others. These few people looked menacing at first glance, and they didn't have any good ideas. The visitor is not good. Get out, this is the palace of the Holy Maiden, the Holy Maiden has the right not to see you. A servant shouted. At the same time, Jin Chanzi and the others were pushed out. But Jin Chanzi and the others didn't move at all. Get out. Jin Chanzi waved his hand casually, and the servant flew out immediately, spitting out blood. He actually didn't give Shen Qinghan any face. Forcibly breaking into the Holy Maiden's palace, and even in front of Shen Qinghan, directly knocked her servants out. Shen Qinghan's eyes were calm, making it impossible to see what she was thinking. She protected Su Bai behind her, and said calmly, Jin Chanzi elder, if you don't give me an explanation today, I'm afraid this matter will be hard to justify. Ha ha. Jin Chanzi laughed loudly. Explain. After you returned, Shen Qinghan, did you not know what you did, and you want us to explain to you? Jin Chanzi stretched out 3 fingers. First, you teach the holy law of my Fluctlight sacred land to outsiders. Second, give the precious medicine that sacred land worked so hard to get to a waste, a person of unknown origin. Third, the proud son of heaven who has offended all major forces and made countless enemies for sacred land. Why, these 3 points alone are not enough. Jin Chanzi sneered and stared at Shen Qinghan. These 3 pieces of evidence alone are enough for you to step down from the altar. But Shen Qinghan, it took a long time to speak, and he still had that calm look, making it hard to tell the depth. No wonder, I understand. After a while, she murmured. Then, the cold eyes wandered over the faces of several elders without hesitation. Golden Chanzi Elder, Stone Elder, Tianji Elder, Sky Sword Elder. These are the elders who supported the other disciples during the Holy Maiden battle. Later, he successfully defeated several personal disciples and won the name of Holy Maiden, and these elders fell silent. It may also be because after I became Holy Maiden, I didn't do anything excessive, which kept these elders from finding a reason to attack. So there has been no movement. Today they jointly broke into the Holy Maiden's palace, and they listed 3 pieces of evidence in a decent manner. If there was no other meaning in it, Shen Qinghan would absolutely not believe it. After all, as long as you are deprived of your Holy Maiden status, you will start running for the Holy Maiden again. And those personal disciples they support will have a second chance to become Holy Maiden. This group of elders, taking the opportunity to attack, has a big plan. What? Don't talk anymore, Shen Qinghan, I advise you to take care of yourself, but you just became a Holy Maiden and raised a face head, you are too inflated. Ha ha ha, face to face. Look at his old appearance, he looks like he's almost dead. How about face to face? Who has such a strong taste? Who knows what ecstasy drugs Su Bai gave Holy Maiden? Ha ha ha, I'm afraid it's not Holy Maiden's pet. Hey, don't say that, maybe she really loves her, huh? Ha ha ha. Quote. Quote. The elders mocked unscrupulously. Su Bai couldn't show any expression of emotion or anger, but narrowed his eyes slightly, sensing something was wrong. He has experienced so much in the next 3 days, if he still can't see that these elders are deliberately provoking Shen Qinghan, then he doesn't need to live. Little Taohong. Su Bai frowned slightly. He quietly pulled Shen Qinghan. The group of elders obviously came prepared, and what they said just now was intentionally for Xiao Taohong. The reason is to make Xiao Taohong lose her composure, and even make a move. In this way they have achieved their purpose. Xiao Taohong can naturally understand this, but Su Bai is a little worried. I am afraid that I am afraid, even if Shen Qinghan clearly knows that there is a pit in front of him, he still jumps into it. He glanced at little Taohong. Then he was slightly taken aback. I saw that Xiao Taohong's expression had undergone an earth-shaking change. Even if the elders accused him of breaking into the Holy Maiden's palace, Shen Qinghan's expression remained unchanged. After hearing them taunting Su Bai, he immediately raised his head, his eyes burning with uncontrollable rage. The elders broke into the Holy Maiden's palace at will, but Shen Qinghan didn't respond. The elders wanted Shen Qinghan to give up the position of Holy Maiden, but Shen Qinghan didn't respond. However, when the elders said no to Su Bai, Shen Qinghan flew into a rage on the spot. What are you saying? The temperature around Shen Qinghan's body seemed to drop a few degrees. The whole room became extremely cold. It's like a world of ice and snow. A wave-like spiritual pressure immediately swept out of Shen Qinghan's body. Everyone seems to have forgotten. What is my identity? What is your identity? Who gave you the guts to commit the following crimes and question the qualifications of the Holy Maiden? At this moment, the majesty that Shen Qinghan displayed looked down on the world, making people breathless. Shen Qinghan's 2 eyebrows, like 2 willows in the ice and snow, exude biting sharpness. In his eyes, there was an unquenchable anger. Those who dare to insult the young master will die. Young master himself has lived for decades in the next 3 days, how much has he suffered, how much has he suffered? He persisted in those days. Now that he has me by his side, how can I just watch others disrespect young master? Instantly, from Shen Qinghan as the center, a palpitating grand aura suddenly spread out. The spirit power fluctuates like Wang Yang, in the shape of a sea tide, carrying supreme majesty, sweeping all directions in the west, 9 heavens 10 lands. Boom, the wind blows. Shen Qinghan stepped forward with a single step, his gaze was cold, like 10,000 years of profound ice, with a bone-piercing chill, he slowly glanced at everyone present. Now, there was a sudden silence. Several elders, it seems that under this spiritual pressure, their brains have gone blank. I felt a pressure from the bottom of my heart. With their realm cultivation base, there are not many people who can make them feel this way in the whole 3 days. Jin Chanzi opened his mouth slightly, his expression was in a trance, and he was stunned. Frost had formed on elders' white hair all over his head. The other elders were not much better. One by one, they stood still. The whole audience was silent. Under Shen Qinghan's spiritual pressure, several well-known elders were so stunned that they couldn't even speak a word. What did you just say? In this suffocating silence, Shen Qinghan spoke slowly. Her voice was calm, but there was a pressure that could not be ignored. This sentence is like a stone dropped into a calm lake. Let the lake make waves. Only then did the elders come back to their senses. Immediately afterwards, a sense of humiliation surged from my heart. Jin Chanzi's palms hidden under the sleeves were clenched suddenly, and anger burst out of his eyes. The majestic lord of the law enforcement hall was so shocked by a little girl that he couldn't speak. What a shame! Jin Chanzi sneered suddenly. He wanted to repay the insult just now doubled. What did I say? I said I will abolish your holy maiden position. I said I want this mortal behind you to cramp in front of you and die a terrible death. He smiled playfully. He slightly moved his body back, raised his chin, and said with a strange smile. Based on what you have done, not only do I have the right to do so, but I can also do it in a fair way. Even if I kill the boss behind you, I don't need to take any responsibility. Everything I do is in line with the commandments of the sacred land. The words fell. Among the elders behind Jin Chanzi, a burst of laughter suddenly broke out. Ha 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 ha, holy maiden, you don't think we're here today without any preparation. What did we say? Can't you hear what we said? What's that face of yours called? Su Bai. Today I'm going to let you two die together and make a pair of desperate mandarin ducks. Quote. I don't know if it's because of Jin Chanzi, these elders are extra confident when they speak. It seems that all this will become a reality. As if, all of this was doomed. Xiao Taohong, don't be fooled, they are deliberately provoking you, just wanting you to make a move. Su Bai's eyes revealed, for fear that Shen Qinghan would not be able to make a move, so that he would not be able to turn over again. Besides, Xiao Taohong was so angry because of herself. Although these verbal attacks are not harmful to Su Bai at all. But, Xiao Taohong definitely didn't think so. I am her everything, her reverse scale. At this time, these elders use themselves to anger Xiao Taohong. It is hard to guarantee that Xiao Taohong will not think about it. Listen to me, this matter should be considered in the long term, not in a hurry. Su Bai said in a low voice. Young master, Shen Qinghan interrupted Su Bai's words rarely. Her voice was calm. People can't see the depth. I know what you mean, don't worry, I know it well. Of course not letting the bugs get away with it. Huh, Su Bai let out a long breath, then I'll let it go. But, Shen Qinghan suddenly turned his head and met Su Bai's eyes. Seeing Shen Qinghan's expression, Su Bai's heart suddenly skipped a beat. At the same time, something strange. What kind of expression was that? Such as the Wanyan snow mountain breaking through the clouds. Such as the Xuanbing of Taiyan that has gone through the baptism of time but does not dissipate. Like a large volcano about to erupt. That was, a look ready to kill. But young master, daughter scolding you. Shen Qinghan suddenly laughed. When you are working hard for the next 3 days, I will not be here. During the decades when you lived alone, I wasn't there either. I don't know how you have been living these years, but as an ordinary person, you must have suffered a lot to reach the top of the great Xia dynasty. But now, I'm standing by your side, how can I let others bully you? If someone scolds you, I'll call you back. Even my elder of the sacred land must pay the price. The words fell. His gaze suddenly became sharp. Turn around, Ningfa. She undisguisedly urged the cultivation base all over her body, and this delicate body seemed to contain infinite power, and it was tumbling and boiling at this moment. There is a rumbling sound, grand. But this move is exactly what the elders want. Jin Chanzi's eyes revealed, showing a triumphant smile, and said loudly. Shen Qinghan, you are too young. They just wanted Shen Qinghan to make the first move. In this way, even facing the Holy Lord, facing the retired elder, there is a reason. Anyway, Shen Qinghan made the first move, they were just trying to protect themselves. And in the process of self-protection, even if something happened to Shen Qinghan and Su Bai, it was beyond their control. What they want is a justifiable one. Now, Shen Qinghan just gave them a reason. Jin Chanzi immediately burst into cultivation base, and the violent spirit power made the entire Holy Maiden Palace tremble. At the same time, the Heavenly Sword Elder beside him also stepped forward, bursting into cultivation base. That is a purer and more heart-pounding spirit power than the cultivation base erupted by Shen Qinghan. The two chief and deputy masters of the Hall of Law Enforcement are actually the second rank of saint. It's a whole realm taller than Shen Qinghan. Shen Qinghan, if you didn't give the 9-Yi fan flower to this mortal for healing, but to use it for breakthrough, you might still be able to fight against me today. But now, you have just joined Saint, and the two of us have already broken through Saint's second level for thousands of years. What are you fighting with me for? Jin Chanzi's voice was booming, bathed in golden light at this time, the meaning of sacred spread all over his body, the whole person was like a god descending into the world, extraordinarily extraordinary. Hearing what he said, Su Bai's heart was full of guilt. At the same time, there are some moving. It turns out that little Tao Hong has sacrificed so much for herself. Then how can I still stand like this, watching Shen Qinghan alone, facing two second-order saints? Hey, Yu sighed. Su Bai wants to take a step forward and face the storm of the world alone. But at this moment, the Fluctlight Holy Law that contains the true meaning of the Great Emperor suddenly exploded, and a magic formula that was enough to amaze the 10 lands of 9 heavens was launched brazenly. The golden dragon shadow uttered an extremely majestic dragon chant, which burst out directly from Shen Qinghan's palm, if it wanted to rush towards the sky. This moment, Shen Qinghan's cultivation base burst out undisguised. Saint First Order, Zochin. This moment, the expressions of Jin Chanzi and Tiandao Elder suddenly became extremely exciting and horrified. They never expected that in just a few days, Shen Qinghan would break through directly to Saint's first level Zochin from the moment he first entered Saint. They never imagined that the gap between Shen Qinghan and the two of them on realm is actually so small. This moment, in the audience, only the majestic dragon chant echoed. Shatter all Xiao Xiao's voices. Chapter 31. The Holy Master stood on the top of the mountain, looking in the direction of the Holy Maiden Palace. White palms were clenched and placed in front of him, with a dignified expression. The mountain wind blows, and the silver-white hair flutters with the wind, blowing away her long silver-white hair, but it can't blow away the sadness between her eyebrows. But in the Setsuna that Shen Qinghan shot, the Holy Lord's frown was suddenly relaxed. As if letting go of something, the whole person seemed to relax a lot. She smiled slightly. No wonder. Let me just say, you little girl, how could you do such an unsure thing? It turns out that the first level of Breakthrough Saint has already been completed. This Shen Qinghan put on the stance of burning everything together. He was really afraid that something would happen to her just now. It doesn't matter how many elders die. She was afraid of herself. What good or bad would happen to her? However, with her current Saint's first level Zochin realm, together with the Fluctlight Holy Law, and various powerful spells, it must be more than enough to pack a few elders. Scared me to death, Holy Master, I thought you were really an out-and-out love brain. What Shen Qinghan didn't know was, as early as the first moment when several elders entered the Holy Maiden Palace, the Holy Master had already noticed it and had been observing secretly. A few times during the period, she couldn't help it, and forced her to shoot. But she always felt that the spiritual pressure erupted by Shen Qinghan was somewhat forbearable, and it was not all about her. It was as if Shen Qinghan still had his whole cards in his cards. So the Holy Master suppressed it again and again, and didn't do anything. Sure enough, Shen Qinghan really gave Holy Master a big surprise. But in a flash, the Lord is a little strange. Her bony index finger tapped her delicate chin, she tilted her head slightly, with a puzzled expression and a charming appearance. But having said that, when did you break through Saint's first level of Zochin? I gave you the Juya Fanhua, you used it for Su Bai's treatment. It stands to reason that the current you should not even have a stable realm. Didn't you think that you have already achieved Saint's first level of Zochin in just a few days? Strange, so strange. Holy Lord doesn't understand. From her perspective, she has seen a lot of geniuses in the past 3 days. Even those sons of emperors, heroes who possess the inheritance of the great emperor, under the same circumstances, it is impossible for them to be so fast. Could it be that Shen Qinghan has no chance these days? The Holy Lord was puzzled. So the stars in the eyes flowed, and then looked at the Holy Maiden Palace. That gaze seemed to fall directly on Shen Qinghan through nothingness and space. Inside the Holy Maiden Palace, after Shen Qinghan made a move, several elders stared wide-eyed. In my heart, I was even more horrified. What's going on? Why is it Saint's first level Zochin? Didn't it mean that the Holy Maiden just broke through Saint? The gap between Saint's first level Zochin and just entering Saint is too big. It is impossible to break through successfully in just a few days. What the hell happened? Even with 9 Yi Fanhua, it's impossible to cultivate so fast. The elders were shocked in their hearts, and they didn't understand what happened at all. How to fight this? Holy Maiden was originally a hero of the younger generation. A cultivation base is extremely powerful. It's not a problem to leapfrog murder or something commonplace. The most powerful of them here are Tiandao Elder and Jinchanzi Elder. Both are Saint second order. Originally, he thought he could directly crush Shen Qinghan to death with the help of Realm, unable to turn over. Unexpectedly, Shen Qinghan quietly broke through to Saint's first level Zochin. What a fart! Some elders silently took a few steps towards the retreat, as if they were facing an enemy. They used their cultivation base all over their bodies, not daring to slack off. Only Tiandao Elder and Jinchanzi Elder are still holding on at this time. Jinchanzi's face was extremely ugly. Even if he was bathed in the golden light, he could still see his expression as if he was eating shit. How could you be Saint's first level Zochin? After speaking, he seemed to realize that he had lost his composure. So he snorted coldly, forced his mouth to be stiff, and then said loudly, "What's the matter? Even if it is Zochin, you are still a first level saint. What are you fighting with my 2 second level saints? Shen Qinghan, today I will remove your Holy Maiden identity and let you fall from the 9 heavens to the mortal world. Today I will let you understand the background of the Sacred Land Elder." Shen Qinghan's expression was cold. Just said lightly. Noisy. The words fell. The divine dragon circling beside him seemed solid, and immediately attacked the heavenly sword and golden cicada. This is an unrivaled tyranny. Contains the true meaning of the great emperor. Jinchanzi's pupils shrank, and he quickly resisted. There are tens of thousands of phantoms of sky knives floating around the sky knife, and thousands of knives are fired at once. However, the methods of the two, when Setsuna touched the Shenlong, they didn't hold on for even half a moment, and they shattered directly. Immediately afterwards, Shenlong shot straight into the two of them and exploded. Puff! Under the inconceivable gaze of the elders. The 2 strongest elders among them vomited blood and flew out in a panic. With a bang, it fell to the wall. The Holy Maiden Palace, which was reinforced with the Space Avenue when it was built, was actually under a single strike by Shen Qinghan. The wall was shattered, and the Space Avenue collapsed. Instantly, in the Holy Maiden Palace, you can hear the quiet needle drop. All elders were dumbfounded. They just stared blankly at the scene in front of them. Thunder fell in my heart. What did they see? Shen Qinghan was actually at the strength of Saint's first level Zochin. With one blow, the 2 elders of the second level saints were completely defeated. The strength of the Holy Maiden is so terrifying. Su Bai, who was just about to die generously, fell silent suddenly. He covered his mouth and coughed lightly. This newly lifted foot. Forget it, let's take it back. It's embarrassing. She was planning to be handsome, but who knew that Xiao Taohong was hiding so deeply that she even hid it from herself? Why is she so powerful that she beat the 2 elders like dogs? He looked at the 2 embarrassed elders, and then at Shen Qinghan, who was dressed in white and spotless. Su Bai suddenly felt that he had a sense of security. Happiness. Look at Shen Qinghan again. She stepped on the ground in a mess. Walk slowly towards the 2 elders lying on the ground, dying. His gaze was as cold as ever. At the same time, there is a kind of superior indifference. Along the way, no one dared to stop them. The elders who had been clamoring loudly just now were dumbfounded at this moment, and each of them dared not show their anger, for fear that Shen Qinghan would be the next one to move. Then, Shen Qinghan walked up to Jinchanzi and Tiandao. Just now you asked me why the breakthrough was so fast. She paused for a moment. Said lightly, "Breakthrough realm, I just fell asleep." Breakthrough realm, I just fell asleep. Shen Qinghan fell silent. A few elders, but the corners of their mouths twitched a few times. An old woman couldn't help whispering, "What?" She immediately shut her mouth. My whole body tensed up. Afraid of an accident, Holy Maiden noticed himself. But, what the Holy Maiden just said. Breakthrough realm, it just fell asleep. Does this keep people alive? I sleep every day, and I don't see a breakthrough realm. It's good to be Holy Maiden. People break through after sleeping. Real or fake, there is such a good thing. Several elders were shocked and frightened. At the same time dare not speak out. This is too irritating, it's really more annoying than people, is Holy Maiden joking here? But actually, everyone misunderstood what Shen Qinghan meant. This sleeps, not that sleeps. The sleeping that Shen Qinghan said is different from what they understand about sleeping. The elders understand that it can be done by one person. But what Shen Qinghan said needed Su Bai's selfless help. So speaking of it this way, Shen Qinghan didn't talk too much. At this time, Shen Qinghan stood in front of the two elders. Condescending, you just said that you want me and young master to be a pair of desperate mandarin ducks. The trembling elders quietly glanced at Su Bai standing there with a relaxed expression on his face. I'm so envious. Holy Maiden even called him young master, why? I also want to have Holy Maiden call me young master, and then treat me with holy medicine. For a moment, the expressions of several elders suddenly became envious, jealous and extremely complicated. After Su Bai noticed these gazes, for some reason, his waist straightened a lot, and he felt that his face was radiant. Are you envious, jealous, harm? I don't want to, whoever makes me lucky. Shen Qinghan continued. Just now, what did you say? Let me fall from the 9 heavens to the mortal world. Jin Chanzi struggled to open his heavy eyelids, his eyes were mixed with blood mist, and he looked at Shen Qinghan dimly. Then, there was a hint of fear. Shen Qinghan interrupted, have you ever thought that with what you just said and what you did, with my sacred land discipline, it is enough for you to die a few times? After finishing speaking, Jin Chanzi's heart suddenly skipped a beat. The whole person was suddenly surrounded by fear. He sensed the killing intent in Shen Qinghan's eyes. She really wanted to kill herself. No, Holy Maiden, let me explain. Enough. Shen Qinghan slowly raised his hand. In the palm, there is the supreme spirit power condensed. The light is gorgeous and the spirit is overflowing. Before you offend my majesty, you should think about what will happen to you. Today, you will die, and gods cannot save you. The light in the palm became more and more dazzling. It seemed as if the golden cicada would be blasted into pieces in the next second. Everyone watched this scene without even daring to breathe. Those elders, their eyes widened even more, their hearts were jumping with fear. Holy Maiden, really moved to kill. She really wanted to kill Jin Chanzi. Kill this elder of the Fluctlight Sacred Land, Lord of Law Enforcement. After his death, I'm afraid there will be a big earthquake in Fluctlight's Sacred Land. Holy Maiden, really want to do this? Right now. Outside the Holy Maiden Palace, a hurried voice suddenly sounded. Wait. Immediately afterwards, everyone looked at the door. I saw a figure appearing suddenly. She has long silver hair and a shawl, and there is a star in her eyes. It was the Holy Lord, who came here in person. Shen Qinghan looked over expressionlessly. Several elders seemed to see a savior. Immediately he was relieved. The Lord is coming, even if the Holy Maiden doesn't give them face or to put them in one's eyes, but according to the Holy Lord, the Holy Maiden should still consider it. Jin Chanzi didn't know where the strength came from, and immediately hugged Shengju's thigh tightly, crying. Holy Lord, help! The Holy Master kicked Jin Chanzi away in disgust, and angrily said, shut up. She looked at Shen Qinghan and said gently, you can't kill them yet. Shen Qinghan shook his head coldly. No, he must die today. What I do is in line with the sect commandments. According to Article 74 of the Sacred Land Commandment, if there is no important matter, you must not trespass into the Holy Maiden's palace, and you must not offend the majesty of the Holy Maiden's son. Only the Holy Lord and the retired elder can be convicted of the fault of the Holy Maiden's son. Offenders will be killed without mercy. Shen Qinghan greeted him without giving in. So, I killed him, what's the problem? Several people present were in an uproar. Holy Maiden, this is determined to kill Jin Chanzi and Tiandao. She did this probably not because of any sect commandments, but because Jin Chanzi would never die for mentioning Su Bai. Moved the reverse scale of Holy Maiden. The Holy Lord had a troubled expression on her face, and she frowned slightly. But, you also know that since that incident, I have fluctuated Sacred Land's high-end combat power to none. Killing them makes the Fluctlight Sacred Land passive. It can't be killed, even if it is punished. Speaking of which, the Holy Master has lowered his posture as much as possible. If it wasn't for that incident, it would have had too much of an impact on Fluctlight's sacred land. She is too lazy to care about the life and death of Jin Chanzi and Tiandao. Seeing that the Holy Master has said so, Su Bai is not easy to do things. He knew that Shen Qinghan did all this for himself. Su Bai said, then let them live. Shen Qinghan, who was still extremely determined just now, suddenly changed his words after Su Bai spoke, then listened to young master. Shengju's expression suddenly became very exciting. Good guy. What a guy. I am a majestic shaker, holy lord of sacred land. I am not as good as a mortal old man when I speak, right? Shen Qinghan said again. However, the death penalty can be avoided, but the living penalty cannot be escaped. Then punish them, go to the Sea of Stars and dig stars. The so-called Sea of Stars is the vast and boundless universe. The star in Fluctlight's sacred land was dug from the universe by someone who violated the rules. And, empty, silence is the eternal theme of universe. Going to the Sea of Stars to dig stars is a very boring and lonely job, and you may never see another person in your life. They will spend their lives in eternal solitude. In this way, it might as well be dead. The dignified elder, the master of the law enforcement hall, actually wants to mine. But for Jin Chanzi and Tiandao at this time, it is a great blessing, as long as they don't die. Go to the Sea of Stars to mine. The Holy Master showed a thoughtful expression. Then I shake off the important position in sacred land, and it will be vacant. Shen Qinghan suddenly laughed. It's okay, I happen to have someone recommending it to you here. It's okay, I happen to have someone here who recommends it to you. After Shen Qinghan finished speaking, the Holy Master was immediately taken aback. A hint of astonishment appeared on the delicate face like a silver basin. Talent. Where did the talent come from? I Fluctlight's sacred land, there are only so many talents, Junji. Except for Shen Qinghan, none of the cultivation bases are in the saint realm, so what is an elder? And many more. The Lord suddenly thought of something. His gaze also gradually became strange. Finally, it slowly moved to Su Bai's body. The talent you're talking about, couldn't be the little lover you raised. She said in disbelief. What little lover? The temperature around Shen Qinghan dropped suddenly, his willow eyebrows stood up. The speaker had no intention but the listener had the intention. This sentence directly angered Shen Qinghan. She stared straight at the Holy Master, her eyes didn't budge at all. In Shen Qinghan's view, even the Holy Master cannot slander the young master. No matter who it is, there is no such qualification. When talking about herself, Shen Qinghan may not have any reaction, but once Su Bai is mentioned, Shen Qinghan will immediately become extremely sensitive. Even a little extreme. That's my young master. Her voice was crisp and lively, but there was a kind of anger boiling that could not be ignored. The words fell. The elders present were also stunned. Holy Maiden dared to contradict the Holy Lord in front of so many people. During Setsuna, they seemed to have a deeper understanding of something. It seems that Su Bai is indeed the reverse scale of the Holy Maiden. No one can touch it. Those elders can't do it, even the Holy Master can't do it. Shen Qing said coldly. Without Su Bai young master, there would be no Fluctlight Holy Maiden today. He's not a man I raised, let alone a little boy, if you really want to talk about it. Her expression slowly became serious. To be honest, without him, I wouldn't be where I am today. I can have today's achievements, most of which are due to young master's credit. These trash can be elder hall masters, not to mention, my young master is unparalleled in the world. Why can't it be done? Some words. Loudly. Shen Qinghan's serious gaze slowly scanned the crowd present. That sharp light made everyone feel a little dazzling and couldn't look directly at it. She is telling everyone with her actions. Su Bai is by no means a badass. Even if you are the Holy Master and you are kind to me, you can't slander young master like this. In the huge palace, suddenly fell into a brief silence. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. There has always been harmony between the Holy Master and the Holy Maiden, but today, because of Su Bai, they are about to tear their faces apart. The elders bowed their heads and remained silent. It's like automatically ignoring that sentence, these wastes can be elders. Kiki, didn't hear at all. Who made her the Holy Maiden? The Lord looked at Su Bai thoughtfully, as if he understood something. Is that so? the Holy Master murmured, and immediately looked at Su Bai squarely. His face is old and his hair is gray. But between the brows, there is a sharp temperament. The eyes are bright and energetic, and the figure is tall and straight. It was completely different from the frail look that was about to die at any moment when he first arrived in the palace. It seems that now is his real appearance on weekdays. Compared with ordinary mortal elders, it is really different. Seeing this, the Holy Master seemed to have made a decision. Speak sincerely to Su Bai. Just now, the Holy Master didn't think carefully and said something wrong. Please don't blame me. Brush. In an instant, everyone's eyes fell on the Holy Master. Shen Qinghan was a little astonished. Just now he was angry and bloody, and thought that the Holy Master would be angry because of this, but he apologized to the young master without thinking. Su Bai was taken aback for a moment, and then a gleam flashed in his eyes. He looked at the Holy Master carefully. Unexpectedly, the Holy Master of the Fluctlight Sacred Land could do this. Sure enough, it is not easy. But she really looked at Shen Qinghan's face. Could she completely put down her face and apologize to herself? Or, is there another picture? The elders looked at the Holy Master in shock. What, did I hear correctly? The dignified Lord of Sacred Land actually apologized to a mortal old man. My God, this kind of thing has never happened since I became an elder. Is this the first time? How big is Su Bai's face, to allow the Lord to do this? While the elders were shocked, the Holy Master immediately changed the topic. But being an elder is not a child's play. Since ancient times, I have fluctuated sacred land. There has never been such an example. In the final analysis, it is still a bit absurd. So, you'd better think about it again. I will carefully consider the talents you recommend to me, but let Su Bai be the elder. The Holy Master shook his head and did not continue speaking. What he said seemed gentle and soft, but the inner meaning was very firm. At this moment, her meaning is already clear. Su Bai is your young master, Shen Qinghan, okay, then I will respect him. It's unreasonable to let a person with a humble cultivation base and no background be the elder of the Fluctlight Sacred Land. Su Bai narrowed his eyes slightly, as expected. Before, I felt that it was not that simple for the Holy Master to apologize to himself. Sure enough, it's hiding here. But elder is not elder or something, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Even if the realm of Sacred Land, which fluctuates the entire galaxy, the elder of Sacred Land, who fluctuates, is the supreme existence on all planets. Su Bai is still not interested in this. He didn't want to do this, so he just stood there silently and didn't speak. Instead, those elders, after seeing the attitude of the Holy Master, everyone couldn't sit still. Show your loyalty now. That's right, Holy Maiden, you'd better think about it again. I fluctuate the elder of Sacred Land, at least it has to be in the creation realm. Furthermore, from his appearance, I guess he has just practiced not long ago, and his qualifications are still too shallow. This matter cannot be sloppy. I suggest that the elders vote for the election, which is the fairest. Quote. Elders, you talk with each other. Both inside and outside the words have the same meaning. Let Su Bai be the elder, absolutely not. With so many people present, there was no voice of approval at all. So far, Shen Qinghan had a panoramic view of everyone's attitudes and did not speak yet. But it's so hard to die. Just when everyone was about to lose their voice, an elder yelled in a sharp voice. He's just an ant with a mere physical body. To be an elder, he deserves it. After saying that, Shen Qinghan's eyes fell directly on that elder. These words completely pissed off Shen Qinghan. She took a deep look at the elder. Said slowly, then what do you guys mean? My young master is not good. There was a faint smile on the corner of Shen Qinghan's mouth. It's like waiting to see their joke. You said, my young master is only in the physical body. Suddenly, Shen Qinghan looked at the elder who was talking nonsense just now. The elder felt a little guilty when she saw it like this, but after thinking about it, the Holy Master was standing in front of him. What were he afraid of? He said confidently, that's right, when he first arrived in Sacred Land, what kind of cultivation base was it? Everyone can see it. Cultivator in the physical realm, let alone being an elder, even if you become a disciple of my Fluctlight Sacred Land, you don't have that qualification. Okay. Shen Qinghan turned to look at Su Bai, and casually untied the spirit sealing technique on Su Bai. now you all have a good look at it. My young master, what is realm? The spirit sealing technique is a spell to seal spirit power. A few days ago, in order to exercise his physical body, Su Bai specially asked Shen Qinghan to seal his cultivation base. Now, with the unlocking of the spirit sealing technique, the spirit power on Su Bai fluctuated, undisguisedly bursting out. Everyone here is a big cultivator of high realm. All hands and eyes open to the sky. At a glance, I can see what Su Bai is at this time, what cultivation base is. Compared with when I first entered Sacred Land, at this time, Su Bai's spirit power fluctuates extremely powerfully. No matter in terms of purity or strength, it has risen by more than a few steps. The elders were stunned for a moment, and after a closer look, they slowly widened their eyes after noticing Su Bai's cultivation base. Shen Qinghan looked at them with a half smile but not a smile, and felt very funny. The Holy Master's pupils trembled slightly, and his heart shook. The peak of the cave. She subconsciously blurted out. She looked at Su Bai in disbelief. The stars in the pupils flowed, as if they wanted to see through Su Bai. Her two gazes directly pierced Su Bai's physical body, and landed on his dantian. I saw 9 volcanoes floating quietly in Su Bai's dantian, constantly spewing pure spiritual qi. Cave Heaven Realm Cultivator, every breakthrough first stage day, can condense one more volcano. 9 volcanoes. It means that Su Bai has stepped into the peak of 9th stage. Only one step away, you can break through the cave and come to the supernatural realm. What's more, Su Bai's 9 volcanoes are much larger than others, and the spiritual qi that erupts every time is very pure. This is the ultimate cave. Without an absolute talent, several years of hard work will definitely not reach this level. How on earth did he do it? Even with the help of Juyi Fanhua, it is impossible to achieve this level. After all, the most important effect of 9 Yi Fanhua is to improve physical fitness and focus on repairing injuries. It's not that kind of breakthrough realm medicine. Counting the days, Su Bai came to Flucklight Sacred Land, and it took only half a month. Half a month ago, he was just a dying cultivator. Half a month later, 9 superb caves were condensed in the blink of an eye, and they were only a little short of stepping into the realm of supernatural powers. Such a fast training speed. Rao, the Holy Master who had seen the big wind and the big waves, was also startled by Su Bai at this time, and he was speechless. This kind of cultivation speed is too monstrous. Su Bai stood there quietly, smiling slightly. I don't know how to be talented. It took half a month to condense the 9 best caves. It is incomparable to those geniuses in Sacred Land. After speaking, everyone was not calm. Those elders were all so surprised that they couldn't speak. 9 superb caves, how is it possible? This is too fast. In less than half a month, the peak of the cave, and an average of 1 superb cave in 2 days. No, you have no evidence for what you said. Who knows if you are the ultimate cave? Su Bai said flatly, if you can't see it, someone can see it. After that, he looked at the Holy Master. That's right, the Holy Lord's star eye can withstand the shattering void, and the Holy Lord will definitely expose him. The eyes of the elders immediately fell on the Holy Master, looking forward to the Holy Lord, who can break Su Bai's bragging behavior. Then they saw, the Holy Master's face was shocked, and he didn't speak for a while. This time, they understood what was going on. It turns out that Su Bai is really not talking big. Is it really the best cave? This speed is too monstrous. Even my direct disciple of Sacred Land has stayed in the cave for several years. How is this possible? My direct disciple of Sacred Land can't compare to a physical cultivator who will come in the next 3 days. Shen Qinghan looked at the uncomfortable expressions of the elders as if they had eaten shit, not to mention how happy they were. She put her hands on her shoulders, smiled, and said mockingly, I remember someone said just now that my young master is a small cultivator in the physical realm. He doesn't deserve it. Who said that? The corners of Elder's mouth twitched. He said in his heart that who knew you were so bad, and you specially used Dao sealing spirit art to seal his cultivation base. Even so, you can't be the elder of Flucklight's Sacred Land. Okay, I admit that he is extremely talented and a monster, but now his realm is still not enough to see. That's right, I Fluck the elder of Sacred Land, how can? Okay, the Holy Master interrupted suddenly. Just now he said that he is only a cultivator in the physical realm, now he shows the cultivation base, what else can I say? She took a deep look at the elders and frowned slightly, feeling ashamed to stand with them. It's annoying to talk endlessly. Immediately afterwards, the Holy Master looked at Shen Qinghan again. This matter, it's settled like this. The matter has come to this point, and it is meaningless to continue talking. After all, in the Holy Master's heart, he was still towards Shen Qinghan. Just now when he rejected Su Bai, he was forced to do so from the standpoint of her Holy Master. Now that Shen Qinghan has slapped all the elders in the face, presumably they will be able to restrain themselves in the future. After finishing speaking, the Holy Master waved his sleeve robe, turned and walked out of the Holy Maiden Palace. Holy Lord, wait a minute, take us with you. Wait for me, Holy Master, slow down. Seeing that there was no one to back them up, the elders were immediately frightened, they didn't even dare to look at Shen Qinghan, they quickly put on the Heavenly Sword Elder and Jin Chanzi, and left the Holy Maiden Palace in despair. They can't think of anything. In the dignified sacred land, one day, there will be a cultivator in the cave, who will become an elder. This is really the first time ever. On the way, the more Holy Master thought about it, the more he felt something was wrong. When he first entered sacred land, I clearly observed his talent, it was terrible. How is it possible to cultivate so fast? It was Shen Qinghan who fed him heavenly and mortal treasures. Suddenly, the Holy Master froze. It seems to have thought of something. A bad premonition welled up in my heart. Fly to the Temple of Medicine Pill. Not long after, wait for the Holy Lord to enter the Medicine Pill Temple. When she looked so intently, her eyes suddenly blurred, she felt dizzy, and almost lost her balance. I saw that in the Medicine Pill Hall, except for those top-level medicine pills, all the medicine pills that assisted practice were evacuated. Those shelves were empty. Even the strong medicinal scent in the medicine pill hall became very thin. Good guy. What a guy. Those who didn't know thought that a big thief had entered the medicine pill hall and ransacked it. The Holy Lord had a sad face, and stood there wanting to cry, but he was numb. Well, you Shen Qinghan, for your young master, sooner or later you have to evacuate the Fluctlight sacred land. After everyone leaves, Su Bai unconsciously breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that the Holy Master didn't stand by Elder and the others from the very beginning. Su Bai, who has a wealth of experience in life, can immediately see what the attitude of the Holy Master is. The Lord seems to be on Elder's side, but in fact, every word is paving the way for Xiao Taohong and digging a hole for Elder. Denying that I can't be an elder before is just a reason for my position. After revealing the cultivation base, the Lord directly confirmed his identity as elder. It was also at that moment that Su Bai did not understand the Holy Master's attitude. It is not easy to be the Holy Master of sacred land. But he also knows. A large part of the reason why the Holy Master was able to do this was because of Xiao Taohong's face. Previously, Xiao Taohong slapped these elders in the face with the cultivation base. Later, I used the cultivation base again, and slapped these elders in the face. Two things put together, plus the attitude of the Holy Lord. That's how he made himself an elder, and that's it. For a moment, Su Bai was overwhelmed with emotion and felt a little dazed. Half a month ago, I was still playing for 3 days, and I couldn't find a way to practice. Half a month later, I have already arrived at the famous Fluctlight sacred land for the last 3 days, and learned the Fluctlight holy law that contains the true meaning of the great emperor. The elder. The difference before and after this is not huge. Even if I was in the next 3 days, I was Su Fui who was famous in the great Xia dynasty. It is not comparable to the current self. You know, even a disciple of Fluctlight sacred land, in the great Xia dynasty, the emperor would not dare to neglect. But myself, now the Fluctlight sacred land elder. When the disciples saw him, they had to salute and say hello elder. Ah, Su Bai let out a long sigh. This little day is so beautiful. It has to be Xiao Taohong, otherwise. Thinking of this, Su Bai looked at Shen Qinghan, and was taken aback. What are you doing? I saw Shen Qinghan constantly taking out medicine pills, treasures and so on, all filled with pure spirit power, from the interspatial ring. Like a magic trick, one can after another, one bottle after another. Take it out like you don't want money. If outsiders see this, they will be jealous. Soon, the whole room was filled with the strong and viscous aroma of spirit power. Su Bai was a little confused for a moment. Before, Xiao Taohong also brought good things for herself, but she took them one by one. It's not as scary as it is now, taking out piles of piles. To be honest, Su Bai felt a little scary watching this scene. Is this evacuating sacred land? Where did these goods come from? But is it really appropriate to bring back so many treasures at once? Shen Qinghan smiled sweetly at Su Bai, like a little girl next door, vaccinated Su Bai. It's okay, don't worry young master, Fluctlight Sacred Land has a very deep foundation, these things are just a drop in the bucket. Furthermore, young master is now the elder of Fluctlight Sacred Land. It is reasonable to use more sect resources. Who dares to say anything? Shen Qinghan looked serious, it really seemed like that. You can practice with peace of mind, break through with peace of mind, and then shut up all their mouths, that's all. Su Bai thought about it carefully and said, that's right. After all, Fluctlight Sacred Land uses star as the mountain gate, and it occupies an entire galaxy's behemoth. Such a powerful sacred land, I don't know how many years it has been passed down, and it seems that it is not inferior to myself. What's more, I am an elder now, using some resources is justifiable, and there is nothing wrong with it, right? Thinking of this, Su Bai felt much more at ease. But what he didn't know was, as for the medicine pill piled up on the ground, each elder can only receive 1 jar a year. The so many things that Shen Qinghan brought back are enough for an elder to worship for nearly 1,000 years. What's more, she almost emptied the medicine pill hall, just to practice for Su Bai. Young master, I see that your 9 caves have already been consummated, and you are only 1 step away from breaking through to the supernatural realm, so your recent cultivation must not be sloppy. Shen Qinghan said seriously. As soon as Su Bai was mentioned, Shen Qinghan seemed very concerned. The cave realm is to open up a cave in the body, and the supernatural realm is to imprint supernatural powers on the true spirit. The level of supernatural powers determines the foundation. How far we can go in the future depends on a large part of the factor in the supernatural powers. However, it is not easy to break through to the supernatural powers. You need to sense the true spirit first, and then imprint the supernatural powers. If you are not careful in this process, you will damage the foundation. The more he listened, the more serious Su Bai became. He knew that it was not easy to practice all the way, and if he was a little careless, he would be close to death. To break through the supernatural powers, one must be fully prepared. But right now, I don't seem to be prepared for anything. Su Bai was suddenly stressed. But at this moment, Shen Qinghan suddenly changed the subject and took out a small medicine bottle. But coincidentally, I just found a medicine pill that can help young master improve his true spirit compatibility, perfect soul pill. Each time you eat the soul pill, you can increase the compatibility between the young master and the true spirit, so that you can get twice the result with half the effort to imprint your supernatural powers. Come on, without further ado, young master, let's eat a can first. As he said that, Shen Qinghan poured out 7 or 8 medicine pills in a clatter, and held them in the palm of his hand. I eat a can, not a piece. Su Bai was moved in his heart. Xiao Taohong is so kind to me, others treat a piece of food as a treasure, and he eats a can of it himself. If you take too much of this Wanyun pill, won't it cause side effects? Shen Qinghan shook his head. No, this is a heaven-level perfect quality medicine pill, which basically has no side effects, except that if you take too much, you will easily develop drug resistance. But it doesn't matter. After taking the drug resistance, let's change to another medicine pill. I also helped young master get a lot of medicine pills that enhance the compatibility of the true spirit. So that's how it is, the heavenly perfect quality medicine pill, I can't stop taking it until I develop drug resistance, and then eat other medicine pills. Su Bai was even more moved, and said seriously, no, I still want to rely on my own efforts to go breakthrough realm. Medicine pill and so on are all external forces. You still have to look at yourself along the way. Saying that, Su Bai swallowed the medicine pill held in Shen Qinghan's hand without hesitation. Close your eyes and meditate, feeling the mystery of Wanyun pill. Shen Qinghan at the side took advantage of this time, and then took out a few more shiny golden books of supernatural powers to choose from. Is this holy level Tongtian divine palm more suitable for young masters, or is the holy level 9 serenity soul suppressing fingers more suitable for young masters? This heaven level supreme Boruo body is definitely not good, the grade is too low, and it is not worthy of the status of young master. Which one should I choose? Shen Qinghan was a little confused. Looking at several books that are enough to cause a bloodbath in the outside world, each of which possesses the power of ghosts and gods, I fell into deep thought. Juyu Soul Suppressing Finger, a low-grade divine power of the holy level, arouses the power of Juyu, and creates a huge phantom finger on the sky. With one finger, the world's lonely souls will be shattered. Sensing the supernatural power exuding the power of the 9 nethers from the inside to the outside, Shen Qinghan immediately shook his head and threw it to the corner. No, this 9 serenity soul suppressing finger sounds like a villain, and it's not suitable for a gentleman like my young master. The dignified holy level low-grade supernatural power was ruthlessly abandoned. The reason turned out to be that it looks like villain when used. Shen Qinghan looked at Supreme Boruo Ti again. Unsurpassed Boruo body, saint-level low-grade supernatural powers, the power of Shu Boruo, Dacheng people are covered with golden light, Wanfa is invincible, and those who are not holy 3 powerhouses are indestructible. It is the supreme supernatural power of Buddhism, which is rarely passed down in the world. This supreme Boruo body was also the spoils that the holy master Yaoguang had handed over after beheading a rebel Buddhist monk many years ago. At that time, it took a full 3 days of fighting to break the supreme Boruo body. This supernatural power can be called the top existence of defensive supernatural powers. It's golden all over, it looks like a monk, my young master can't be a monk. Shen Qinghan shook his head, and casually threw the Supreme Boruo Ti into the corner without taking a second look. What is the Supreme Wave Body? Eat ashes and go to you. It's another holy level low-grade magical power, which was ruthlessly rejected. Finally, Shen Qinghan looked at Tongtian Divine Palm and other magical powers. I picked and picked, but I didn't pick out a satisfactory one. This won't work, it's easy to chi deviation, it's too dangerous. This book is even worse. It's just a low-grade book, and it's not worthy of a young master's cultivation. You don't need to read this book. What is the ancestor of all insects? Those who play with insects are disgusting, you. It took half an hour to pick. Shen Qinghan couldn't bear it anymore. All around her were scattered supernatural powers, all of them were famous all over the world, and they could have a place in the last 3 days if they reached great success. But Shen Qinghan didn't to put in one's eyes at all. In her opinion, none of these supernatural powers are worthy of Su Bai young master. What supernatural powers should I cultivate for the young master? Shen Qinghan fell into deep thought for a while. Not long after, suddenly thought of something. His eyes froze slightly. Immediately afterwards, there was a look of hesitation. Quite a while. Forget it. After much deliberation, only that supernatural being is worthy of becoming young master. Shen Qinghan suddenly made a certain decision, and directly turned into a white light and flew towards the sky. That magical power is not in the Hall of Merit, nor in the Treasure Pavilion. And in the Forbidden Area. What Shen Qinghan has to do now is to go deep into the Forbidden Area and retrieve that magic power. Not long, she came directly to a mysterious place in the core area. The air here seems to be filled with a layer of flames, which is extremely hot. The ground was bare and cracked, revealing earthy brown soil, with no vegetation growing. Just when Shen Qinghan stepped into the forbidden area, a Setsuna, the holy master, who was thousands of miles away, suddenly sensed the familiar spiritual pressure in the forbidden area, and suddenly opened those miraculous eyes. His eyes pierced tens of thousands of miles, and fell directly on Shen Qinghan. What do you want to do, little girl? Now without my permission, you even entered the forbidden area casually. The holy master's eyes were fixed, and a bad premonition surged in his heart. With a wave of her slender hand, she directly tore the space and stepped into the deep purple void storm. In the next second, he was outside the forbidden area. Shen Qinghan, stop! The holy master stepped forward and shouted. Shen Qinghan looked back, his heart sank. Why did the holy master come? The holy master came to Shen Qinghan and looked her over. What are you doing in this phoenix blood forbidden land? It's not time to take out that supernatural power. You haven't entered the Saint King yet. It's too early to take that supernatural power now. Shen Qinghan shook his head. It's not for me. Isn't it for you? Holy Master was astonished, but then, he suddenly remembered that Su Bai seemed to be entering the realm of supernatural powers soon. And many more, etc., etc. Could it be that Shen Qinghan wanted to take out that supernatural power and give it to Su Bai? Thinking of this, Holy Master was in a bad mood, opened his eyes slightly, and looked at Shen Qinghan in shock. You don't want to use that magic power for Su Bai, do you? Seeing that Shen Qinghan didn't speak, Holy Master confirmed this thought in his heart. Absurd. It's ridiculous, she said in disbelief. Do you know what level of supernatural power that is? You use it for Su Bai's breakthrough supernatural power, don't you think it's a waste of money? You know, that's what I left for you to break through Saint King and take charge of the sacred land. Immortal Phoenix immortal art, can be reborn with a drop of blood, even if you are knocked down, as long as there is still a drop of blood, Nirvana can be reborn, and even improve the realm. This is the top supernatural power of the last 3 days. You want to use it for Su Bai's breakthrough, do you know what you're doing? The Holy Lord was so angry. I really don't know what is going on in Shen Qinghan's mind every day. That was the top supernatural power of the last 3 days. The existence of a holy top grade. The supernatural power effect is so powerful that it can be called abnormal. If this level of supernatural power was given to Su Bai breakthrough realm, the Holy Master himself would feel distressed. Shen Qinghan was very calm. I know what I'm doing. I also know how valuable the undead phoenix magic is. Tens of thousands of years ago, the immortal phoenix immortal technique was famous for 3 days. Immortal practitioners have all become giants in charge of a world. But later, a drastic change occurred in Fluchtlight's sacred land. As a result, the phoenix immortal art of immortality is left with only a broken version. It was the supreme powerhouse of the sacred land who worked hard and spent thousands of years on closed-door training, and finally found a feather of the legendary fairy phoenix. This is the reference to get a castrated version. Now this castrated version of the immortal phoenix immortal technique, that is, the feather of the phoenix, is still being warmed in the forbidden area. As for the forbidden area, because of this supernatural power, the temperature is getting higher and higher, gradually extinction of all life within several miles around. It can be said that this supernatural power can only be cultivated by one person. After extracting the supernatural power, the phoenix feather as a carrier lost its effect. Will turn into a normal feather in a few moments. At that time, even if Su Bai wants to teach others, there is no heavenly and mortal treasures in this world that can be used as a carrier for inheriting magical powers. So, once Su Bai practiced the immortal phoenix immortal art, he is the last inheritor of the immortal phoenix immortal art in this vast world. The scorching wind blew, stirring Shen Qinghan's ink-like hair. She stood quietly in midair, and suddenly turned her head, looking in the direction of the Holy Maiden Palace. In the calm and firm eyes, a touch of tenderness appeared unconsciously. She parted her red lips and said slowly, "Of course I know what this phoenix immortal art means. With this magical ability, she is likely to become the most powerful holy maiden in the history of Fluchtlight's sacred land. After taking charge of sacred land in the future, he will also lead Fluchtlight's sacred land to a more prosperous future. But, if the supernatural powers given to young master breakthrough supernatural powers are mediocre, how can they lay a good foundation and go further in the future? There are no higher realms. Young master himself would be very unhappy." Thinking of this, Shen Qinghan smiled slightly. The smile blooms like a flower. My things belong to the young master. What's more, the young master is about to break through the supernatural powers. How many of the 3,000 supernatural powers in this world are worthy of the young master? Senior sister, I have made up my mind, you don't need to persuade me anymore. If I don't care about young master, then I can't stay in this Fluchtlight sacred land. Finished. In Shen Qinghan's eyes, there was even more firmness. When the two of them were alone, Shen Qinghan always called Shengju senior sister. You, the Holy Lord almost couldn't catch his breath. Her almond eyes stared slightly, her chest heaved and she pointed at Shen Qinghan, but she didn't say a word for a long time. But, she looked at Shen Qinghan's determined appearance, and then remembered what Shen Qinghan had done for Su Bai after he returned to Yaoguang's sacred land. In the Holy Master's heart, it was as if he let out a sigh of relief. My junior sister, when she encounters something about Subai, she seems to be a different person. The stubborn 9 cows could not be pulled back. Even if I tried to persuade him for 3 days and 3 nights, I still couldn't persuade him to come back. Thinking of this, the Lord's brows also calmed down, and he shook his head slightly. Hey, you just see that the master is not here, so you can bully me. Shen Qinghan had a smile on his brows, and his watery eyes lighted up slightly. She knew that the holy master agreed. I know that Subai holds a very high and important position in your heart, but you also have to keep sacred land in mind, don't you? The Holy Lord is earnest. Think about it, such a big sacred land will be yours in the future, and you have given him so many heavenly and mortal treasures now, what will you use for yourself in the future? My stuff is young master's stuff, anyone who uses it is the same. Shen Qinghan nodded, senior sister is right. The holy master persuaded again, also, don't get too rigid with these elders. You will let them do things in the future. If you can't win people's hearts, how can you control the sacred land? What kind of dog elder dare to disrespect young master? I will change them all, bah. Shen Qinghan nodded again, senior sister is right. The Lord nodded in satisfaction, and finally said, one more thing I have to remind you, even if you are nice to Subai, then don't be too Zhongyang, so that others will know that he is your weakness. In case you take him one day your life is threatening you, what do you do? Upon hearing this, Shen Qinghan was slightly taken aback. What you said makes sense. That's right, what if someone with a heart takes advantage of his inattention and kidnaps young master one day? No, it is still necessary to quickly make the young master stronger. What heavenly and mortal treasures, panacea, take them all. Just be clear in your heart, the holy master finally smiled. It seems that my advice is still effective. Shen Qinghan said seriously, thank you, senior sister, for reminding me. I still want to make young master stronger as soon as possible. I don't have time to say more, I'll go get supernatural powers first. The holy master's smile suddenly froze on his face. She just watched helplessly as Shen Qinghan turned into a ray of white light and disappeared into the sky in an instant. That speed was more than 3 times faster than when it came. Shen Qinghan left. Only Holy Master was left alone, messing around in the wind. Hey, wait for me anyway, Shen Qinghan. The Holy Master was frantic, holding back his anger, and hurriedly followed. It didn't take long before Shen Qinghan returned to the Holy Maiden Palace with the Holy Master, bringing the last phoenix feather of the last 3 days, and handed it to Subai. What is this? Subai looked at the fairy phoenix feather in his hand with a slightly surprised expression. Immortal phoenix feathers, with gorgeous red light flowing, one can tell at a glance, this is another kind of rare heavenly and mortal treasures in the world. This is the fairy phoenix feather. There is a magical power sealed inside. If you pour spirit power into it, the magical power will be activated automatically. Shen Qinghan introduced. Subai frowned slightly, looked at Shanwang feather, then at Shen Qinghan, and said suspiciously. The supernatural power in this fairy phoenix feather must be very simple. The magic power that can make Xiao Taohong go out on purpose and get it back must not be ordinary. Of course, this mortal generally refers to the supernatural powers that other people can't even dream of, the holy level low-grade supernatural powers. Shen Qinghan hurriedly shook his head again and again, fearing that Subai would not practice because of this. No, young master, it's not that rare, you just need to practice soon. Seeing that Xiao Taohong was talking about this, Subai didn't insist anymore, and said seriously. It's fine if it's not something rare, you tell me first, you didn't lie to me, or I won't stop this supernatural power. Shen Qinghan nodded seriously, don't worry, young master. At the same time, he silently added in his heart, this is just a holy level supernatural power, which is worthy of being a young master. It's not rare, it's not rare. That's fine. Subai immediately felt relieved. Xiao Taohong never lied to herself. It is not rare to say that it is not rare. It's just, why does the holy master who is silent at the side have such a resentful expression? Where did you provoke her? I don't understand. Forget it, don't think about this insignificant matter, breakthrough is important. Immediately, Subai calmed down, closed his eyes, held the phoenix feather in his hand, and poured spiritual qi into it. The immortality of phoenix sealed in the feathers of the fairy phoenix slowly awakens. The feathers seemed to be awakened, gently swaying, and the red light around her became more grand and bright. A dry and hot breath spread through the room. Dry and hot. In a moment, a clear and majestic phoenix sounded. The sound and rhyme spread for several miles, and it will last for a long time. Phoenix immortal art has been awakened. The extremely frenzied undead phoenix power, through the fairy phoenix feathers, constantly wanders in Subai's body. It's like a prehistoric beast, rampant and uncontrollable at all. Subai frowned more and more. There was a look of pain on his face. The breath gradually collapsed, and the spirit power began to become disordered. The lips are even slightly whiter. This supernatural power is too domineering, and it is simply beyond his control. Shen Qinghan at the side stood up with a groan, fixed her eyes on Subai, subconsciously clenched her fists, her beautiful eyes were full of worry. No, logically speaking, since young master has eaten so many soul-ending pills, it shouldn't be a problem to cultivate this Phoenix Immortal technique. Even so, I still overestimate young master's talent. Shen Qinghan's heart was pounding, afraid that Subai would die because of this accident. No way. It wasn't that Shen Qinghan was unprepared for things, it was that Subai's talent was too bad. After eating one of the Wanyun pills, you can already see significant effects. Subai ate a whole can, but still can't control the Phoenix Immortal art. It's okay, it can be remedied. Shen Qinghan's eyes froze. He directly picked up the panacea that he had prepared, and stuffed it into Subai's mouth without asking for money. What holy level low-grade medicine pill Tianshuan rebirth pill, what heaven level top-grade medicine pill 9 cycles nirvana pill. One by one, the priceless medicine pills were eaten by Subai. Shen Qing, junior sister, slow down. The holy master at the side looked at this scene, his heart was broken. She stretched out her hand weakly, trying to stop it all. But thinking of Subai's position in Shen Qinghan's heart, I'm afraid I can't do anything. Eat less, this is the ultimate medicine pill handed down from sacred land with great difficulty, please feed him slowly. How can this thing be eaten like a lot of peanuts, isn't that a violent thing? Heartache. It hurts so much. The holy master's heart was bleeding, and he felt extremely painful and powerless. Bang. She slumped directly on the ground, with a dull expression, and murmured. It's over now, sacred land isn't bleeding a lot, so I'm afraid it will be difficult to end. Inside the Holy Maiden Palace. At this moment, Shen Qinghan, who was worried about Subai's safety, could not care about what was precious or not. Whatever medicine pill, as long as you can stabilize the situation of young master, just eat it. Young master, listen to me, after eating these medicine pills, hurry up and activate spirit power to suppress the power of Phoenix and the supernatural power. At the same time, in order not to make Subai feel ashamed, Shen Qinghan added. Of course, this is not an expensive medicine pill, just eat it at ease, there are many more in Fluctlight's sacred land. Hearing this, Subai opened his mouth with difficulty, and ate the inexpensive medicine pill. Hee, it's not some expensive medicine pill. The holy master took a deep breath, turned his head with difficulty, and looked out of the window hopelessly. She was suffering as hell, and at the same time felt that she couldn't stop it. Just out of sight and out of mind, stop looking. Save myself from panicking. After eating several rare medicine pills one after another, Shen Qinghan watched Subai's situation intently. I saw that Subai's complexion turned slightly better and turned ruddy. The breath is also a bit more stable. Of course, this is only compared with the previous situation. If you want to fully control the power of Phoenix, learn the Phoenix Immortal art, break through magical powers, there is still a long way to go. Shen Qinghan didn't dare to slack off, and fed Subai another holy level middle grade medicine pill, Holy Soul Pill. Young master, the medicine pill I'm giving you now can greatly enhance your soul power in a short period of time and make your true spirit more solid. In this way, it will be easier for you to imprint supernatural powers on the true spirit. Shen Qinghan silently took out another jar, poured out 7 or 8 holy soul pills in a clatter, and fed it to Subai. Hiss. The holy master's eyes widened, he leaned back, and clasped the vase beside him tightly with a snap. What? This holy soul pill, looking at the entire sacred land, there are only a few of them. This was 10,000 years ago. Fluctlight's sacred land was bought with great difficulty from a famous alchemy great master who had been famous for 3 days. At that time, all the gods in the auction were about to fight for this holy soul pill. Medicine pills that can enhance the strength of true spirits are extremely rare in this world. All of them are expensive. Millions, tens of millions of top-grade spirit stones can't buy that kind. What's more, the holy soul pill can greatly strengthen the true spirit without any side effects. For a big cultivator, one portion of the true spirit is stronger, and the effect produced is definitely 1 + 1 greater than 2. As a result, Shen Qinghan just used these holy soul pills so casually. Or give Su Bai breakthrough a supernatural power. Violently dispatch the heavenly objects, violently dispatch the heavenly objects. The Holy Lord's eyes were wide open, his face was full of pain, and he felt his heart twitching violently. Accidentally, with a crash, the vase was broken. There was a crisp cracking sound. Shen Qinghan frowned suddenly, turned his head around, with an unkind expression. Senior sister, if you have nothing to do, go out, so as not to make noise here, and delay my young master's breakthrough. Puff. What? I just watched you scrambling for Sacred Land's resources, do I still have to be scolded? The Lord was very wrong. What a day. What kind of junior sister is this? Listen, is this a human language? After all, I am the Lord of the Sacred Land, do you really have no face at all? Tired. Will not love again. The Holy Master looked at the mess on the ground. All kinds of bottles and cans are scattered all over the place. And the elixir that Shen Qinghan dropped when he wasn't paying attention. Don't mention how distressed I am. Those are extremely rare top-quality elixir. When has this kind of treatment been done? Didn't even take a look when it fell on the ground. If you put it in other cultivators, you have to confess it, find a place to hide it, and only 7 or 8 large formations can be at ease. Look at Shen Qinghan again. The Lord felt that if he didn't do anything else, these elixirs would be swept up as garbage later on. She got up silently, endured the grievance, felt as uncomfortable as eating shit, and didn't say a word. While watching Shen Qinghan's elixir falling from her fingers, she rushed to rescue. Whatever it is, medicine pill, put it away quickly. The more you clean up, the more wrong the Holy Master will be. Like a little bitter woman, she knelt on the ground, picking up the fallen elixir everywhere, while muttering in her mouth. I am the Holy Master of Fluctlight's Sacred Land, the majestic Holy Trinity powerhouse, the top existence of the Saint King. Why am I so humble here, and I have to live by picking up a leftover medicine pill from a cultivator? The Holy Lord wants to cry but has no tears. But Shen Qinghan didn't notice all this at all. All her thoughts were on Su Bai. Don't be careless at all. It wasn't long before she saw it. Young Master's condition has improved a lot, his aura has gradually stabilized, and the spiritual qi around his body has not diminished, but has become more majestic and solid. This is a sign that he is about to break through to the supernatural realm. Shen Qinghan's eyes brightened. Come on, young master, the breakthrough is about to happen, come on. The energy accumulated in Su Bai's body after pouring down a large amount of top-quality medicine pill exploded at this moment. Between Setsuna, Su Bai opened his eyes. In those eye sockets, a dazzling red light lit up. The whole person seems to be different. Between the raising of hands and feet, the power of the supernatural powers spread out. Under the huge amount of top-quality medicine pills and the last holy level top-quality supernatural power in the last 3 days, Su Bai boldly took a step and stepped into the supernatural power realm. Behind him, a gorgeous sacred phoenix phantom suddenly appeared. This phoenix phantom, with its miraculous flames and hot and sacred aura, overflowed like a sea tide. Phoenix flapped its wings, and suddenly flew above 9 heavens, making a crisp phoenix cry. Hey! This moment, everyone in the Fluctlight Sacred Land sensed a completely different sacred aura. That is the breath of the mythical beast Phoenix. They looked at the core area of the Fluctlight Sacred Land at the same time. If you are close, you can even see the birth Phoenix standing high in the clouds. The Phoenix anomaly caused by Su Bai's breakthrough in the supernatural power realm spread to an unprecedentedly large area. This is not at all a feat that a cultivator in the supernatural power realm can accomplish. This moment, the whole world is shocked. At this time, Su Bai didn't know what kind of waves the vision caused by his breakthrough to the supernatural power realm caused. All the major sacred lands in the past 3 days, at the same moment, looked at the Fluctlight Sacred Land. The core area of Fluchtlight Sacred Land has set up a peerless formation, and the eyes of the outside world cannot be cast here. However, under this vision of Subai, the power of Phoenix is so strong and majestic that it directly caused the formation to be in chaos for a moment from the inside, losing its effect. The major sacred land powerhouses seized this brief but precious opportunity. Peerless gazes, piercing through the galaxy cluster, fell on the Holy Maiden Palace through an infinite distance. Wanchu Sacred Land. The Holy Master Wanchu suddenly opened his eyes, the chaotic energy spread, and a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. On the shelf behind him, there are various bottles and jars, all of which are various precious medicine pills refined by the Holy Lord of Wanchu. Hasn't there been a phoenix vision in tens of thousands of years in the last 3 days? Sacred land fluctuate, I'm afraid we will add another peerless power. Who the hell is it? Fluchtlight Holy Maiden. The Holy Master Wanchu was startled. The Holy Maiden of Yaoguang is amazing. This kind of vision, I am afraid that it has entered the Holy Trinity realm and achieved the Saint King. In his eyes, the chaotic energy was solidified, and his eyes fell directly into the Holy Maiden Palace. Next second, then I found the bottles and jars around Subai. Wait, the Holy Master Wanchu was taken aback suddenly, as if he had sensed something. This is a breakthrough supernatural power. Breakthrough supernatural powers can actually cause phoenix vision. After seeing the source of the vision, Holy Master Wanchu had goosebumps all over his body. He was a well-known alchemy master in the last 3 days, but with his eyesight, he couldn't tell that Subai's ability to break through to the supernatural power realm was clearly created by using all kinds of peerless elixir alive. Even the Holy Master Wanchu, who has seen all kinds of peerless medicine pills, feels very distressed at this moment. He had never seen such a thing. Is this the friend of Fluchtlight Holy Maiden? The Fluchtlight Holy Maiden was able to do this for him. In order to break through the supernatural powers, so many peerless elixir were used, but the effect is also remarkable. From a cultivator with mediocre aptitude to a peerless arrogance who caused Phoenix's vision. The words fell. Suddenly, the Holy Master Wanchu, a ridiculous thought flashed through his mind. His expression was dull. Then came the ecstasy. I've been trapped in Holy 2 for many years, and the Elder in Sacred Land is quite dissatisfied with me. If I also use this method, what realm can I break through? The more you think about it, the more feasible it is for the Holy Master Wanchu to think. A cultivator with extraordinary qualifications can cause phoenix vision under the pile of medicine pill. If I have reached the second saint realm with my own strength, if there are a large number of elixir blessings, won't this take off in a wave? Lord Wanchu clenched his fists, turned his head suddenly, and looked at the various medicine pills behind him with bright eyes. He not only wants to take off by himself, but also takes the whole sacred land with him. Whoever made him the first sacred land, the most powerful thing is pill refining. This is the opportunity God bestowed on Wanchu Sacred Land. An opportunity to fly to the top. The Phoenix Dynasty. Southeast, Yanyu. In this fiery area, a middle-aged man with hair like flames had an irrepressible surprise on his face. If there is a strong person from the Phoenix Dynasty here, they will definitely recognize it. This person is the Divine Fire Saint King who has disappeared for thousands of years. Shenhe Saint King, a legend in his life, overwhelmed all the talents of the Phoenix Dynasty, and became the only Saint King in the dynasty. But when Shenhe Saint King was at his peak, he fell in love with a mortal girl, married a wife and had a child, and gave birth to a boy with terrible qualifications. In order for his sons to inherit the legacy, Shenhe Saint King submerged in the uninhabited flames for thousands of years, just to create a suitable cultivation technique for his son. But today, after Shenhe Saint King noticed the phantom of Phoenix and saw how Subai broke through, he was suddenly enlightened, and his thoughts suddenly became clear. It turns out that it can still be like this, so there is such a breakthrough method. This kind of amazing work has never appeared in the past 3 days. Fluchtlight Holy Maiden does things in a grand, interesting way. Shenhe Saint King laughed, the mountains and rivers trembled, but he didn't care at all. If my son also has a large amount of elixir to irrigate, I don't know how far I can break through with the cultivation base. In his heart, there was an uncontrollable heartbeat, wishing he could go out of the mountain at this moment and look for the peerless elixir. What kind of magic elixir package? Even if you lose your fortune, arrange it quickly. Dayan Sacred Land. Floodlight Sacred Land has always been independent and detached from the world. There are not many forces that can conflict with Floodlight Sacred Land, and there is only one sacred land that can become a deadly enemy with Floodlight Sacred Land. The conflict between the two behemoths can be traced back to the two founders of Sacred Land. Today, Dayan Sacred Land and Floodlight Sacred Land have a feud that cannot be resolved. After sensing the phoenix aura coming from the Floodlight Sacred Land, Lord Dayan's pupils shrank suddenly. The strong power of Phoenix, who broke through and caused the vision of Phoenix. The vision of Phoenix, one of the top visions, will not appear in 10,000 years. There are only a few people in history who can produce the vision of Phoenix, and they are all peerless powers who have been famous for 3 days. Floodlight Sacred Land has a phoenix vision, which is the worst news for Dayan Sacred Land in the past century. Lord Dayan immediately used his supernatural powers to look at Floodlight Sacred Land. Yaoguang's peerless formation in the core area of Sacred Land is specially aimed at Dayan Sacred Land. Even if the formation is damaged at this time, Lord Dayan can't see anything. Can't see anything. What the hell happened in Floodlight Sacred Land? Lord Dayan was so flustered that there might be another peerless power in Yaoguang Sacred Land, which made him unable to calm down at all, thinking about it all over his head. With his meager imagination, how could he have imagined Shen Qinghan's extraordinary skill? How could it have been imagined that the birth of the Phoenix vision was not the peerless power that was born in the Floodlight Sacred Land at all, but a small cave cultivator that broke through to the supernatural realm? Lord Dayan's heart sank, and he pondered for a moment. Suddenly all the elders were called, and an elder meeting was held. No, I must investigate this matter thoroughly, and make clear as soon as possible, and make preparations as soon as possible. There is an extra peerless powerhouse in Floodlight Sacred Land, and I am afraid that a catastrophe is imminent for Dayan Sacred Land. Notify all disciples, enter the first level alert state, and keep an eye out for any disturbances in Floodlight Sacred Land. I am Dayan Sacred Land, fully prepared for the catastrophe. From today, the entire Dayan Sacred Land has closed all passages in and out. All disciples, obey orders in Sacred Land. All elders who are out, recall them immediately. Everyone in Dayan Sacred Land vaguely sensed, I'm afraid, the sky is about to change. And the reason why a dignified Sacred Land made such a big reaction was that Subai broke through to the supernatural power realm. At the same time, whether it is the forces that have good relations with Floodlight Sacred Land, or the forces that have no relationship with each other on weekdays, they all set their sights on Floodlight Sacred Land. Without him, just because the vision of Phoenix is too amazing. This is likely to cause turmoil in the pattern that has not changed for thousands of years in the past 3 days. God knows that a huge number of medicine pills can be piled up, and a Phoenix vision can be smashed alive. Since ancient times, no one has done this. No fool will do anything that has no investment value. People will focus on cultivating talents with outstanding talents and profound backgrounds. As for those mediocre cultivators, no one will take a second look. But today, Yaoguang Sacred Land Holy Maiden, Shen Qinghan, used practical actions to tell the entire last 3 days that even a person without cultivation qualifications can pile up alive through various elixir. Even, the vision of Phoenix was produced. They didn't know that a large part of it was due to the contribution of the immortal Phoenix feather and the Phoenix immortal art. So you can imagine, when people know that a peerless genius can be piled up through medicine pill. For the entire last 3 days, what kind of madness will they fall into? Among them, those big forces that have the strength to do so even started to call emergency meetings. Dayan Sacred Land. Lord Dayan already knew what happened to Floodlight Sacred Land. He stared gravely at the elders. I think this matter, you can try it. There is a new genius named Subai in Floodlight Sacred Land, who induced rare visions in the world, and the birth of Phoenix is enough to explain everything. Snapped. He slapped the table with his big hand. Calculate a rough figure for me now, how many resources and how many spirit stones it takes to pile up a peerless genius. Immediately below, the elder began to calculate. After a while, the result was obtained. Back to the Holy Lord, the total price of the various elixir that Floodlight Holy Maiden has spent this time is around 3 billion top-grade spirit stones. As soon as the words fell, there was an outrageous uproar in the audience. A total of 3 billion top-grade spirit stones. Sect leader, is it really worth it for us to use so many spirit stones to create a genius? Yeah, this number is too shocking, I'm afraid I can't bear it. Quote. Stupid. Dian Shengju snorted coldly. I have noticed Su Bai's aptitude before, it is the lowest of the lowest. With his aptitude, he spent 3 billion top-rank spirit stones and became a peerless genius. Then the talents in my great evolution sacred land, if they are piled up in this way, how terrifying will their talents be? Maybe. Holy Lord Dian's eyes showed fanaticism, and his voice trembled a little. I hope to be above Saint. Saint above. As soon as these 4 words came out, everyone present fell silent. They all know what it means to be above Saint. That is the existence that has the ability to change the entire last 3 days. So far, the emergency meeting of Dian's sacred land was unanimously approved, and a peerless genius plan was piled up with elixir. And other sect forces also realized this at the same time. Everyone is aware of it. As long as you have strength and financial resources, you may be able to dominate the entire last 3 days. From now on, all the pharmacists in the sect received orders from above at the same time. Refining medicine pill 24 hours a day. All the famous alchemist masters in the past 3 days were invited back by the major forces with exorbitant prices to refine the peerless elixir. In Purple Orchid Galaxy, even when Master Medicine Pill was invited, 2 sects clashed, resulting in thousands of deaths and injuries, and even 2 elders in the Genesis realm died. Those famous alchemist masters even had dark circles under their eyes and trembling hands due to too much energy consumption. In Shanline's sacred land, a master alchemist, with 2 big dark circles under his eyes, said weakly, "Let me take a rest, I really can't do it anymore." Elder, who was in charge at the side, shook his head. "No, I can't rest, my Shanline sacred land paid you to come back, is it for you to rest? Alchemists from other forces are not resting, why are you resting? Think about it, if you take a day off now, maybe my Shanline sacred land will fall behind a lot. Master, please work harder, we will add more money." When he heard the word, add money, the master's mouth twitched. Add money, he has heard the elder say this sentence several times. I beg you, let me rest, if this continues, people will die suddenly. The only response to the master was to shake his head ruthlessly. The madness of the last 3 days was more than that. Looking at the major auction houses, all heavenly and mortal treasures were sold out within a few hours. Don't grab it, I fell in love with this star flower first, do you want me, sect, to start a war with you? Fart, daddy, don't care if you fell in love first, I want it. I'll add 30,000 more top-grade spirit stones. Get out of the way, all of you, I'll add an extra 100,000 and sell it to me. Quote. Among countless sects, the disciples responsible for purchasing medicine pill are about to fight. There are even some people who have found a new way to stay and rob on the only way that the major forces must pass. The story of Genesis Power robbing the supernatural Power Boy happened repeatedly. There was even Saint himself who made a move to snatch the heavenly and mortal treasures bought by other sect disciples. What's more, the huge sect of the last 3 days has already begun to study and conduct an arms race. This is just the tip of the iceberg of the madness that Su Bai has caused. But he himself still doesn't know what amazing changes have taken place in the past 3 days because of his own breakthrough. At this time, Su Bai went through several hours of precipitation. Finally slowly opened his eyes. Quietly feel the mysterious changes in the body. Looking inside his body, he saw a little light man exactly like himself floating cross-legged in his mind. This is the true spirit. And in the palm of the true spirit, lay a fairy phoenix feather. Behind him, there is a magical phoenix, flapping its wings and hovering. The phoenix immortal art is still successfully imprinted on the true spirit. Su Bai murmured, "Did my breakthrough succeed?" Shen Qinghan responded with a smile on the side, "Yes, congratulations young master, you have successfully stepped into the realm of supernatural powers. It seems that it's not too difficult to break through to the supernatural power level." Su Bai was full of spirits, and he didn't know what happened just now. During the breakthrough, all his attention was on the fairy phoenix feather. Even when Shen Qinghan fed him the medicine pill, it was done subconsciously. I have no sense at all. That's not because young master is extremely talented, and he easily broke through to the supernatural power level. Young master is really amazing. Shen Qinghan blowing rainbow farts, his eyes were full of little stars. The holy master at the side, after hearing what Su Bai said, was stunned. She suddenly raised her head, looked at Su Bai in shock, and then at Shen Qinghan in shock. I just feel like I heard it wrong. The whole person is not well. What's so easy, what's so powerful about young master? Nope, all those multi-excellent medicine pills were eaten for nothing. So I'm bleeding profusely. Holy master, what's wrong with you? Shen Qinghan suddenly noticed that the holy master's face was a little pale and very weak, as if his mind had been greatly traumatized. The holy master shook his head helplessly. Leaning against the corner, the whole person seems to have lost his soul. Said with a painful face. It's nothing, I just suddenly feel that life is meaningless, I just don't want to live, let me die. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.